Rell. I am your host, Jonny P.
OleHead Rell.
It's Tone.
And we back. We back. A little late.
Yeah.
We've had technical difficulties.
Tone fucking up again.
Nah, not just me.
Always.
Hey, let's get to it, fellas. But appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Please fuck with us on all social medias at the 2B Fair Show. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Hit the like button. Leave us a comment below. All super chats get read immediately. And we're going to hop into it, man. We got a good one lined up for you. I'll lead off. My question kind of builds on a couple of episodes we had a couple weeks ago. Do Black people have an identity crisis? And we've had conversation about, last time I was here, we were talking about, Black pride or we pride. We was talking about like what actually, represents us, answering questions for, I don't want to say the lower class, but the less privileged among us. And that's why I think my question is like, do Black people have an identity crisis culturally?
Honestly, I wouldn't say we have any more of an identity crisis than we already have been had, because we ain't got no identity to go off of for the most part. For most of us, like we don't have an identity to go off of. So it's like we kind of been making it up along the way throughout the years, or it's been continuing from what parents teach or whatever we learn. Yeah, at some point.
What I'll say is that Q pointed out a good space. Well, a good. Let's say he made a good observation that kind of can go into this the topic where he was talking about like we got the different movements believe Black folk came from some with the traditional theory of like the slave ships, and you got the people that believe we're native. You know what I mean? The you know what I mean? It's so many different. The origin story still it seems to be questionable. So I think that would probably lead into or have something to do or be a precursor for why we do possibly have an identity crisis. Because it's hard to, you know what I mean? If you don't even know where the starting point is, if y'all can't agree on an actual starting point, then how can we not have an identity crisis moving forward? I think that.
No, I agree. I mean, that's actually what you said. That's kind of spark
the thought process
of the conversation. But even me, like even going back to like middle school, I remember like having white friends, and then coming into middle school, high school, and then looking at like, oh shit, those are my Black friends, but they're sitting on this side. My white friends sitting on this side, and I'm like, where do I go? Like if I go over here, I'm not really Black, or they get, you with white boys.
Oh yeah.
Over here, clearly not the white boy, and so there's a thing there. So I mean, for me, it's something that I've always like, in the back of my head. It's like from a young age, I've had this identity. I don't want to say a crisis, but I've had this weird space where I've had accepted. It's like I know I'm Black,
right?
But I also know I'm unique.
Oh, so now you're saying that your story's not average, right? Is that what you're saying to us right now?
Everybody's unique.
No. Hold on. Hold on. Just answer my question directly. That was okay. We're gonna leave. All right.
As far as like average or not, I'll say I have a unique, situation. And she said, Mike, I'm gonna keep on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna
keep cooking.
And so like the uniqueness is something that I've always felt like doesn't necessarily get represented. I feel like you look on what you see on media, and it's always the hood story. Right. It's always something that I didn't and that's where I'm coming from this conversation as far as like even like the exceptional among us or the people that don't necessarily represent what the majority comes from. People who act like that's not Black,
right?
Even with language and vernacular being
correct.
People will say that's not, you don't speak Black.
Yeah.
And what I'm like, and so that's where my question is. And then my thing is, what is our identity, and where are we basing it in, and where can we start to like kind of bridge those gaps to where all of us are included?
And now that's a great question. The bridging the gaps part is definitely a great question. But like, to go back to where you were initially, I was watching a meme. I was watching a video on one of the social platforms, and it was a Black woman, and she was talking about how we attach our existence to the struggle. And so if you haven't had that, then we write you off as you haven't lived the Black experience. So you act white. You know what I mean? And I think that hopefully we can get to a place where we are past that. Hopefully we can, but I think that it would take.
But why do you have to have a certain struggle in order to be Black?
It's even within the music. It's like everything that is like that has art. The culture, whatever we consider the culture to be, it is always paired with the struggle. It's the overcomer. You know what I mean? But if you didn't have to overcome the things that the majority of us did, then we'll have you. You know what I mean? We'll isolate you and say that you haven't lived the Black experience, or you're not cultural as it relates to the struggle. I think that everything, and even when we had the conversation, like, what is Black culture?
But my thing is, but I think the exceptional Black person is still just as much Black, and
I'd agree.
And their struggle is so much more layered because it's not just the upfront like struggle. It ain't money. It's usually not a money based thing. It is an identity based thing, and that's what I'm saying as far as like, why do we just write those off as non-Black or not say it is, the average, and that's where the question is coming from. Hey, let us know if y'all can hear me.
Yeah. Is it still messed up?
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, no, I 100% agree that we shouldn't isolate Black culture or we shouldn't identify Black culture with. It doesn't have to have come from that same struggle, but it seems, I guess, because of the majority and the stories, our history here in this country has been that overcomer, you know what I mean, type of thing. So it's just we kind of, hey, I don't know if that'll ever change. I would like to see it change though. But at the same time, I think that does mean that we have to, at mass, be in a different socioeconomic space for generations, so that tailors off. Or do you think? What do you think is another way?
We are improving. That's why I don't see why we're still stuck on it.
Right, but it's because we still were born though.
The median age, but like
but even though we're the generation that is possibly, you know what I mean, pushing this rise in this, let's say, socioeconomic position, we still know where we come from. So all of us share, or a lot of us share that. And so for those who don't share that, it's just always going to be, that's like the who was that, the dude with the Gap, Strahan, Michael Strahan, right? Yeah. With the Gap, his son was trying to do the rap, right? His son,
no, that was
Michael Irvin. You're right. His son was trying to rap, and it's even T.I.'s son when he was like, "Nigga, you don't come from that."
But
you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just using. I said son. I don't know which one it is. One of them niggas is. You know what I'm talking about? Oh yeah. Right. But like it's we pick apart those that have not had that struggle. You know what I mean? But the thing is that a lot of our kids, because more of us are middle class, our children won't be raised from that same low socioeconomic situation. So their starting point won't be where I was. So I believe that it will tailor off, but I think it's going to take a couple generations.
No, I don't think it's changing. I mean, I definitely, but we had this conversation a lot, and then I bring it up, and then to go back to like our origins, we even disagree on that, and so that's why I'm bridging the gaps and like how do we start doing that, and if we're trying to get to a better place, like the struggle, we can't always identify with the struggle unless we want to stay there. And my thing is like, if being hood is like what's gonna make us, or being hood is the Black struggle, then we'll probably always be there, because we have to at some point come up with a different struggle, because it's not, you're not elevated. It's a different struggle when you move when you're the only Black person in the neighborhood. That's a totally.
I ain't trying to feel that, motherfucker.
But that's a struggle worth having sometimes. That means you probably doing something right. You moving.
I'm gonna set out. I ain't gonna lie. Like when I travel and go different places before, like if I'm gonna get gas or something, I be looking for me. And then, you know what I mean? I be needing to see my peoples around and then let me know if I feel comfortable enough to goddamn, you know what I mean, go and stop over here, or you know what I mean, it take one of them, that American flag. Like I say, I want to let's say mature my mindset as it relates to the American flag for sure. But like you see the American flag and then you see some fat white men out there, yeah, that's enough. And you don't see no Black folk, nigga, I ain't stopping there. I ain't stopping that.
I made it a thing to not. I made it a thing that to not be uncomfortable or to not allow myself to be uncomfortable being around, like no matter who in the place. Because there was a couple of times I've been forced into a position where I didn't see a lot of my people there.
Yeah.
But I took notice of that. I ain't like that I had to feel like, because it's kind of like an inferiority complex.
No. It's also about protecting yourself as well, though. Like at the end of the day.
I'm not scared of white people. That's the thing.
No. What I'm saying, I don't. I think that there is a maturing of the mindset that needs to happen. I know that I know where I come. You know what I mean? Where I come from is that I still got a lot of those kind of, you know what I mean? Those ideas, they stuck with me, and so. But I do think that like a portion of it is to making sure that I'm safe, and I feel safer when I see in it. Shit, they say that the only people that black folk hurting is black folk, and then for me to make the statement that I got to see myself to be safe is like, well, I'm statistically, I don't know how that lines up, but that's crazy. Yeah, like I said, I got some mindsets that I kind of have always had that I want to unlearn.
Well, and here's one thing, like as a black person going into spaces that you might be the only black person, there's a privilege there for us. Like you can change these folks' mind about like what they see black people as, or like the way you think, the way you move. Like you have the ability to actually show the black struggle in a different light and actually gain empathy from some of these people.
Yeah, I ain't
gonna lie. I used to feel like that was a notable thing, but then it came to a point where it was like I shouldn't have to change myself in any type way to appease to these people.
Yourself, but just showing up as who you are. I mean, like even my job, I have conversations and they're real, conversations, and then we can just walk away and be like, oh, I understand that, and I understand, and I think there's an understanding that they can get if just far as just being open,
and that we can get as well,
and it helps build empathy. So the next time, some of these people, when they see black people, they can understand some of the things. So I think there is something in that as well.
I'd agree. Me myself, I'm not super interested, but there is merit in what you're saying. Like, and I think that's on both sides. Because one thing I realize is that neither black people don't know a lot about white people, and it's, you know what I mean. Both are true on the inverse as well. It's like we'll talk about white people, but how many of you have a different understanding than I do? You know what I mean? Okay, so you have a different. You know them better than I do. But when I was in the military, of course, with my MOS, it was I had like the secret clearance, and so you had to score a certain amount, and so it was a predominantly white MOS. So it was probably, even when I went to basic or to AIT, you would see that the black guys would just sit together. It was maybe 2 tables. It was enough black people for all of us in that MOS to sit at these 2 tables, but it was like 400 or 500 trainees, and it was maybe about, I'm gonna say 25 black guys, maybe. You know what I mean? And a lot of those white guys are cool. Of course, they like to make the jokes, and you know what I mean. They are culturally a little different, but I don't believe that it's as bad as like a lot of us tend to believe.
I was about to say, in most of y'all experiences, when you actually have been around white people, how much different is it? Like it'd be like the difference be like there are differences, but the differences don't be like so major where it's like we just can't get along.
No, facts.
It'd be like, for the most part, everybody does the same stuff. Like everybody got to eat, everybody got to shower, everybody got.
And you know something else that I noticed? A lot of us, like I said, we have a big single mother generation, right? A lot of the single black women that I know, they have stories where white people have been helping them along their entire journey, bro. Like there was some good white people that was helping my family. I ain't gonna name names, but I got a couple of partners that had that same single mother upbringing, and there was white folk that came to the aid to their family time and time again.
I like that slogan, some good white people.
Some good white, some good whites.
Some good whites.
It's some good whites. Nah, facts though. It is though.
Yeah, you one of the good ones.
Right. When you hang, like there's not a lot of differences, and there's certain like conversations sometimes that people think are taboo. Like people like we're not supposed to talk about politics or religion and stuff.
Right.
But like a lot of times, if you can actually have that conversation with a person, you get to see how they think, and you'll find out that a lot, like you said, a lot of us actually have the same line of thinking.
Facts.
With 90% of shit, it's just this 10% of things where just because what we was taught growing up,
it's emotions.
It's feelings.
Emotions.
You can actually get past it. You like, oh shit, actually. It ain't that bad, TJ. It ain't that bad.
Yeah.
Like you realize, oh, we're all just people. And I think that's a lot of the things that, like, as far as our culture, sometimes we, like they say, in our emotions too much and not even willing to have the open conversation without your ego.
Well, I mean, it's stuff that's used to play upon our emotions either. There's a reason that you hear about every black killing by a police officer or something like that. Like,
yeah, you look up statistics.
Into a narrative,
white
they want
folk
to keep playing this stuff.
And statistically, white people get killed by police more than black people.
But we never see it.
But they don't just, you know what I mean, put it up there. I mean, I done told that to a few people, and they have to go and look it up. Like, I didn't know that. It's like, bro, I mean, but and I know they say they respect the population, but at the end of the day, if you look at it in its totality, they do. But like he said, those are not the ones that are publicized on these news networks and getting this big out, you know what I mean, this outcry. But I think that there is. It's our history as well. You know what I mean? It's our history as well. There have been some really bad, you know what I mean? The George Floyd, there's definitely been some our community and our relationship to the relationship that we have with the police. It is warranted based on history. But I think that we also have to figure a way to mend that, because I don't think we need to try to do away with policing. I'm not a nigga to co-sign nothing like that. That's why I think, like, defund the police, the idea, what they were actually trying to do made more sense than the titling that they gave it. Defund the police. Now, it just don't sound like, you know what I mean, something that people will gravitate towards, which I know Democrats' messaging be trash. What the fuck did why would you name it that? When what you're trying to accomplish is not just that, like the messaging just be trash a lot of the times.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. Somebody sat in a meeting and decided to name, like, these people be knowing what they're doing. That's how I see it. They don't just come up with stuff by chance. We do got some comments in here though.
Let's see.
Just because you didn't grow up in the hood don't mean you're not black, but you don't know hood stories just as a person in the hood don't know suburban struggles or stories.
True.
It was Michael Irvin's son. We know where the majority of our DNA and ancestors are from. We just want it to be something more majestic and special, so we get enticed by all these stories of grandeur.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I believe that. I don't believe that all of us came over here on slave ships.
Oh no, I don't believe that either.
I don't believe that. I definitely believe in the native, that there is a population, a large population of black folk that was here. But that doesn't mean that your DNA is not going to tie back there. It's just like the white man's DNA ties back there as well. Of course, because of the us being melanated, it's going to be a higher percentage. But at the same time, I don't believe like I still would say the motherland. I believe Africa is the motherland and all that stuff. But because I'm not like trying to run away from Africa. I'm not trying to run away from Africa. But I think that we came here before. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? I don't give nobody no hard time if they think something different.
The first everywhere and wasn't here.
Right.
So, yeah, that's my whole thing.
Like,
we were
civilization started in Africa. Then it makes sense that the first people everywhere. So I mean, when
that life started in Africa and
they traveled everywhere.
Right.
The people who landed here first, the first people who got here had to be black.
Right.
And then whatever culture they had, and then it probably evolved independently from Africa.
Right.
But the origin was still. You can trace the origin. It might not be from here to Africa. It might be here, indigenous, then go back to Africa. But I think at some point it all goes back to Africa.
Oh, I'd agree with that 100%.
And I think it could be discussed, like, how long were the people here?
Exactly.
What happened? Because the one thing that happened with a lot of the Indians, which is why I think most of us now are Africans, is the Europeans brought diseases over.
My whole thing is
a lot of those Indians died. Like they get smallpox, yellow,
right,
and that shit would wipe out whole communities, whole cultures. And so, are the ones that are here now the black ones? I don't know. We'd have to do DNA, but I think a lot of the black ones died, got killed off. And I think they let the ones that worked with them, they let them live. They let them, but the ones that didn't, they had wars, and I think a lot of that was a bloodbath from conquistadors and white people came over here. I don't think it was like, so I don't know how much of those people survived into modern day.
Yeah, I think a lot of history was falsified and rewritten, told a different way. I don't believe all of that. Like, and then the other thing about us all being from Africa, if that's the case, the Europeans from Africa too. So
yeah, I mean,
like by the technical analysis,
yeah.
But they say something about like the Caucasus Mountains, and there is a separate thing that like Neanderthals.
Yeah, I remember y'all talking about that on Unpack. That nigga G said.
So like, I think there is a separate like they're separate like humans that come from a different area of the world too.
Go ahead.
That's one of the conspiracy theories. I believe it.
Yeah, we're gonna go through some more comments.
Go ahead.
Let's see. Black culture is a youth culture. There are 40 and 50-year-old men dressing like high schoolers. Black culture needs to be recentered on a mature upper class culture.
100% agreed. Seeing that 50-year-old nigga wearing the Jordans with his pants hanging off his ass, I was like, bro, what are you?
I don't mind an old dude in Jordans, but if you sagging, that looks bad. You got your pants up with the Jordans.
No, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like as an adult man, I don't want to be 50 and dress like I don't want to wear shit that I wore in high school when I'm 50, bro. I don't want to wear shit that I wore in high school.
Old dudes wearing 3-piece suits in high school.
Tone was wearing 3-piece suits in high school.
I ain't wearing no 3-piece suit. Hey, I do got a picture of some money jeans with a dress shirt and the title. Y'all remember the jeans, the dress shirt tire? I got that.
Jean dress shirt tie. Let me see. Oh yeah.
I was rocking a sweater vest.
I ain't gonna lie. It was button down. Hey, no bullshit. I went with me and Q went to the Kendrick Lamar concert downtown. Maybe it was a year or so ago, 2 years ago. I had on some jeans with the hard bottoms and a probably a button down. And I asked this Q asked the white boy beside us. He was like, what those shoes look like to you? What you think about his shoes? He was like, those like the shoes my granddad wear. And I was like, oh yeah, what does your granddad do? He was like, he some kind of scientist or some shit. I was like, all right, then I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Hey, bro, I was sitting there thinking about it the other week. I was like, this is a beautiful age to get to because you can wear whatever, bro. And nobody really care.
Yeah, well,
I mean, if they do care, I don't care if they care, personally.
Well, you look like an asshole.
Hey, but your mom loves it.
That was good. Fuck you.
Let's see who got some more comments.
Yeah, man. Let's see. I look up to my father's generation. I don't aspire to be a young person. That was continuing from the last one.
I 100% agree.
That's because white people don't care about their own as long as our rates are higher and they can see videos of us suffering. But from what he was saying, our rates aren't higher. Like the police is killing the whites more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our rates aren't higher. They just keep showing it so we stay subservient.
Yeah,
it's to keep putting in that picture that, hey, we got a foot on your neck. And whether we react to it negatively or positively, it's still reinforcing white supremacy.
Yeah, I wonder why they took cops off of off TV.
Yeah, because I used to like cops. That was when they were showing white people getting
cops
arrested.
still come on.
Yeah,
it's like old episodes. They ain't making no new ones.
I don't know how to do it, but they still show reruns though. Because I think they do it live now. It's called like live.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Live PD.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh,
that's
okay,
a different show.
Yeah.
They was on it at the same time.
Is it still because on cops it was predominantly white people on the drugs and all that shit. It was white boys just running like a motherfucker. Is that the new one?
Live PD had a mix the last time I seen it.
Okay, it's a mix.
I think last time it was white. I saw one black dude, a white person, and like a Hispanic. So it was like
oh, they trying to spread it.
We included everybody. All white people are not bad at all, but it's just most people are cautious. They are good and bad people, and bad is not your race or color; it's your attitude and behavior.
Agreed.
Yeah, because we know Unc don't like them niggas.
No, fact. Oh, so it's black folk and then it's niggas.
Defund the police meant to demilitarize the police. Our police should not be using out-of-date military weapons on citizens.
I don't disagree.
They should have called it.
They shouldn't exactly. Exactly. That was a better messenger. Like, yeah, it sounds way more effective.
Yeah, defund the police. That was terrible.
Bro, Democrats got a lot of work to do.
Now, I think they really be trying to test and see like if the majority is gonna go along with stuff sometimes. Like if we can say the most egregious thing, let's see how the public will react to it now.
Hey, I don't know what they be doing.
I think that's what a lot of news nowadays.
Oh, for sure.
Like we're in a 24-hour news cycle where like people don't even care about like having good news stories anymore. They care about being first, and they care about having the headline that's gonna get
ratings.
And so that's where I think that's what a lot of journalism has like devolved into.
So, question. Based on what you just said, where do you think that comes? Do you think that people just inherently love negativity? Because if you, like you said, like the news networks are everything that they've done is based on ratings. So people are literally watching the negative. And when it's not the negative, niggas turn the shit off.
But,
like, do you think that we inherently?
Yes, I think yes, but that's it's an instinctual thing for human beings. But I think there's a responsibility for good journalism to show both sides, the good and the bad, because it's easy to get the good, but to get the bad. And people watch it, that's gonna make you the most money, but that's irresponsible. That's not good for the culture. It's not good for society. Right. But naturally, I just saw an accident on 77, and shit, I was turned around. Shit, what's going on? It was like a 5-car pileup.
God damn, today?
Yeah, on the way up here. But I'm saying the show slowed down to go look at the.
See, y'all be pissing me off. See, the niggas that want to look at the accident, bro. I'm trying to get down the street. No, my thing is, I'm gonna tell you this.
I want to know why I had to wait that 20 minutes.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm afraid of seeing some shit that I didn't want to see that I can't forget. You fuck around and see some shit that you can't forget. And I've seen stuff that I can't forget, and nightmares was a big thing in my life. Even as an adult man, I was on sleep meds in the military. When I was in the military, I was taking what's it called? Jay-Z put it in the I was on that's mental health, but Ambien is what I was talking about. It's about them nightmares, bro. Well, either way, I ain't gonna go into that. Maybe that's for another time. We'll talk about that another time.
But yeah, I think people are naturally a fight. You hear motherfuckers out there fighting, what you gonna do?
I ain't never been that guy, bro.
You're exceptional.
I swear I hate that shit.
Most of them gonna look out the window. Yeah. Fight. I'm looking. But I'm just a curious person. If I hear shit, I just want to, what's happening? And I think that's how most people are.
You ever watch a nigga get stumped out real bad?
Not real bad. I ain't saying just get his ass. I ain't never seen that.
Yeah, see, the thing is, if you see something that's bad enough, you won't run to it as much as you do. Oh, yeah. If you see something that's bad enough, you don't want the possibility to see this type of shit again.
I've seen somebody it wasn't get jumped. I've seen really get fucked up in the fight. Yeah. But a couple months later, there was another fight. I watched that one too. So I got short-term memory.
Let's see. Q said it's just not factually true. There's literally no proof of this when it comes down to mass group of black people being here, then turned to slaves. But is there proof that they bought people over here on ships? Where the ships at? That they so proud of it.
There actually is proof of black people coming over here, even in Charleston. If you go down to the museum.
Oh yeah.
They got slave ships.
What slave ships they got over there? Because I've been looking about for ships. I ain't seen no ships.
But I'm saying they they have records of people who used to own the companies that it was business. So they had companies where
saying that they
would rent the boats to the plantations to help them get out. It was big business back then. And so there's record of that business.
I need to see some of these ships. I like I said, I think it's some stories that was told to make us subservient. But yeah, I don't think stuff went down the way that they're saying it went down. And I ain't saying slavery ain't exist. I ain't saying that it would. Well, people get too sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As long as people understand, it's too. But it's the stories. It's does it? At this point, I don't understand how much it really matters. One of the stories is keeping us subservient. It's meant to keep putting.
So let me ask you this: how important do you think us actually sorting out that is? Do you think that that's really important for us to actually get on? I think
it's important for us to understand lineage to some degree. I would like to understand that. If there are documents like you saying that show these slave ships and all these slaves coming over and they showing that, I would like to see those documents. Why is that not American history at that? But
I'll tell you, because a lot of the people who were in control of the slave trade back in the day were some of the people that run in the banking and the record label.
Oh, for sure.
So,
Unc said, yeah, find me that shit. Okay, let's see.
What you said?
Okay, so he said the Clotilda is a slave ship on display in a museum in Mobile, Alabama. Look up when they found that.
Who the Clotilda? Okay. I was looking up somebody else.
The whole thing is at this point, whether it happened or it didn't.
Then TBI said only one. One. So, but my thing is that to get all of these niggas,
and then even in the way that they said they loaded up these ships.
Yeah, what's the number of people? What's the number of people they said they brought? Millions. Yeah. So my thing is, so the niggas had Titanics back in the day, goddamn loading up
loading up cargo.
Goddamn, that's a lot of niggas.
You got the people, you got the food, you got to feed them.
Yeah.
You got your crew that got to manage these people that's under there because they can revolt if you ain't got a big enough crew. So you had all of these people on the ship,
and they was making
in the ocean. In the ocean, and I don't understand if people understand how volatile the ocean is, but they was making all these successful trips.
Yeah, I mean,
across the ocean.
It is a very elaborate, you know what I mean, story. That's a big, what do you say? That's a.
They were also repurposed
to ship other commodities.
Yeah, I mean, like black people, they were just commodities at that point. So like once they couldn't put slaves on anymore, they did a lot of other stuff. So I don't know with the record, but they do have the records of like the slaves when people getting there.
No, I'm not debating. I'm not saying that they didn't have that. I'm not saying that there weren't people that were brought over on ships. But these millions and millions of motherfuckers y'all talking about, I feel you got them here with it. This by Stretch Armstrong.
But like what you said, there is more proof of black people coming in on ships than there is
of them being okay. So what would native proof look like?
You
like what?
I don't know
what because if niggas was here, what would the proof look like to be able to say
the Indians might be darker?
They been, what you mean? That's a fact.
The Cherokee Indians, they not dark.
Bro, when you listen, hold on. Listen to when your boy got here. Hold on, let me ask you this. When your boy got here, what did he say he saw? When your boy got here, what did he say he saw? He wrote this. This is what he said.
On top of that,
black motherfuckers, bro. Black. I'm not. Listen. Like you said, a lot of those people. So let me ask you this.
You know how much destruction they did to the Indians when they first got here? They didn't do it or what they call that shit, the first Thanksgiving and John Smith. It wasn't like that.
I understand what you're saying.
This was war.
I understand.
War time. So to think that these people somehow just survived.
So you think that they just killed every single motherfucker?
I think some ended up in slavery.
Okay.
I think we got people who think. I think it's a combination of both. If I had to think where most.
Well, I mean, it would have through
the transatlantic.
Okay, so look at this. This is something that I'll be asking too, and Q kind of hinted towards this last episode, and I mentioned it to him previously. What do you feel is this time period where the Indians and black folk were able to intermingle at such large scale? Because if you talk to a black person, the nigga grandma's Indian, bro. I don't know no nigga that grandma ain't Indian, bro. I don't know a nigga who grandma ain't Indian. So when was this time period? So but hold on, going off of what your grandma. Look, all right, bro. So
y'all do realize black is a new classification, right?
For sure.
Somebody
they changed it over time.
We was not black.
Like
if you look in the 1600s, who was the black people then? If you look in the 1500s, who was the black people then? Like we've been called so many different names, and people because she was saying there was dark natives. If they weren't dark like us, they wouldn't have been reclassified as black and mixed, which I agree. But I was like,
to counter your argument, see that question I just asked you because you said they just killed everybody, right?
Most of them.
Okay, but the population would have been so small. So where did all of these black and Indian mix? When did this happen, bro? You the only person I ever heard say that they grandmama like I know my grandmama on both sides. Indian and I don't know nigga.
Indian in my family, yes, down the line.
It's down the line.
Not my grandmother, maybe my great.
So where you get your hair from? Where you get your hair from?
I had a white.
It was a caucus.
But all my immediate and grandparents that were alive at the time were black.
Okay, I mean I can't disagree. You know your own shit.
I never met. So like I didn't meet. And I've heard stories. I got an uncle that got hair just like mine, dark skin. And so apparently it's just something that's in the family.
Because a white man gave it to you.
That's what happened when you have mixed people. Yeah. Mixed people.
I'm just but like I said,
I kind of want to move this conversation forward because I got a question. Like just sitting there thinking, so if it is true that slaves like slavery happened the way that we were told it happened and we was all brought over here, what's the impact of us today holding on to that? Like holding on to that story or of being like, yeah, we was brought over here as slave. Like, what is the impact or what is the benefits of us holding on to it? And that's what I'm really trying to understand.
I mean, I would say one of the benefits is going to give you the idea of reparations. Well, no, because you don't even need to be. You could still slavery in its entirety is the payment for. Okay, so no, I don't. I'll take that back. What are the benefits?
Identity. That's what we're talking about. Like identity is the benefit. It gives us all a unified identity
to go to the motherland
culturally.
So the identity that it gives us is from we come from Africa. Well, we were brought direct.
That's just the origins. We're Black Americans.
No, I want to understand what this unified identity is. You're saying though.
You said what benefits, and we all. Like,
you said it gives us a unified identity.
We're arguing about, like, we come from this, we come from this. The proof says, and most people said that most of us came over here through the transatlantic state, and that's an identity that we can all have. And up until recently, that's what I thought.
What's the identity? The identity is that
the identity is that you came from like you was a slave. That literally is not.
But that's prior to the slavery, because slavery is.
Even the indigenous story deals with slavery.
Yeah. So that's why I don't feel like slavery. But you're saying that the identity, so the identity would be that we are from Africa.
We're from the same place. We all come from one place. I think that's it's a uniform.
Bro, if that's the case, then the same thing I just said earlier. Everybody came from Africa,
right?
So we all should be unified if that's the case, because we all just African.
We're talking about forced to come over from Africa. Everybody else did it on their own will. Like, that's a big thing that unites all that.
Okay, so for one,
the common thread with the whole thing. What into the last 5 years, I started hearing, "Oh, we didn't come from Africa."
No. It was fairly recently that I started hearing it. But I mean, when you
go to Africa, everybody who say when they go to Africa, Africa tell them they're not from Africa. If the people in Africa telling you you're not from Africa,
what African told you not?
Bro, like, bro, I got them in the thing. Bro, okay. You go with the Africans and they might believe you. You got to put on the accent a little bit. They might believe you, but you go with the Africans and tell them, yeah, I'm African. For one, they don't even identify. They don't tell you they identify as African. Africans tell you where they from. I'm from Nigeria.
Oh, for sure.
I'm from Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. They don't sit there and say I'm African, bro. Like in us sitting there talking about some, yeah, we African, and they don't even say that junk, and they saying, hey, you not from here.
Who said that?
Oh, I don't know about that. I've necessarily heard.
They're very welcoming, and I've never heard anybody that went to
Bro,
Africa.
Being very welcoming and being from somewhere is a totally different thing. We be welcoming the white people to the cookout, but we don't doggone tell them they black. Well, some of us do, but
no, we don't.
You're not just black because you came to because you was invited to the cookout. Like,
Johnny, he's setting up the foundation of a box. Go ahead. What you got to say?
Ain't no box.
Yeah, TV. When I went to Africa, they knew I wasn't from Africa. Exactly. They call you American over there. They don't even call you. They're not identifying to even match up with you.
But Black America, they still know that their origin, because the white people came and fought them to get the slaves. So they have.
Bro, hold on. That ain't the story I heard.
They got the monument.
I got a meme from a few weeks ago. Let me see if I can go back.
But hold on. To honor the slaves that got sent over here. They do know that they know a lot of things got taken from us.
And I think I shared this on the show last.
Surprise? This is a surprise.
I think I shared this on the thing last week, bro.
I'm a Kenyan American, dual citizen, African American, if you will.
This the other week.
I'm repping my countries today, as you can see.
When
I supported GLM, it felt like a false sense of community within the quote-unquote Black community. I realized in a very strange way how, again, the Black community capitalizes and identifies as a group. It's a collectivist mindset combined with victimhood, combined with identity politics. Only in America did people call me Black. Race is not exactly a thing back where I come from, because we are not our skin tone. We're not defined by our skin tone. Our identities are cultural. They are Kenyans. They are our tribes. I'm a Gikuyu. Someone is Luo. Someone is Kamba. And just like here, tribalism is used by politicians and the media in Kenya to divide Kenyans. The same way, race is used here to divide vanilla people and the chocolate people. But it takes someone critical thinking skills to see through that. Barack Obama, Barack Obama is the reason.
The transatlantic slave trade. And nobody gives us this indigenous proof. Y'all said we would choose evidence.
Bro, there is indigenous. There's plenty of proof, and I tried to tell you this before, but I can bring the stuff next week if you would like me to, because you know I'm good for having receipts.
Yeah, there was a guy on Joe Rogan I was listening to talk about it.
Now remember this next week how good he feeling, because I'm gonna come. You know me, bro. Like I'm gonna come with the doggone receipts. Like I'm gonna come with the stuff. We on coins, we on stone. They got all of this stuff written down, plenty of places besides a story that we've been told. We seen cartoon drawings and believe that this was our history.
Get him.
Just bring the box. Like you're arguing stuff that's in museums and that's well documented. And I'm just saying, just give me one piece of evidence.
What I'm saying, no. So Johnny, the only thing that I'm saying is that the millions
of million Africans came over here. That's the foundation of what became.
Hey.
So you don't think that's true?
Nah, I don't think that 12.5 million.
That they brought 12.5 million. That they brought them over here on a ship.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, they just loaded up the ships, loaded up the cargo.
That's just my belief.
They supplied the food for all of these people.
That's a lot of goddamn.
They funded all of this stuff.
I wonder.
Bring me the picture of the slave ship.
We just talked about one slave ship.
We talked about it. Bring me the receipt. Bring me the picture. Show me the slave ship.
I need receipts that's in the museum.
I'm
like the shit in the museum.
That means it should be easy for you to pull up and show to me. It should be easy for you to pull up.
You said you were gonna bring proof.
I am. Yeah, you bring some proof too, because you so doggone sure. Bring it. Look,
no. I don't believe. At the end of the day,
even Q done turned though. Whoever said they brought 12 million.
That's a lot of motherfuckers, bro.
The National Archive, what exactly is this? Our National Archive said it was
12.5 million, bro.
On ships,
bro. I ain't going, but I mean, hey,
you know, it's over like.
I know it was over.
Decades.
Yeah. But the first question, okay, but then how long does it take? How long does it take?
I want to see something.
How long? We'll dive into this next week because we're gonna do some. Because how long does it take to get from where they left to? Yeah, this is on the spot. No, facts.
I tell you what, there is proof of though. You can Johnny's right all you want to, but if you go to the library, I forgot what it's called. It's the government library. They actually do have proof of them reclassifying us from Native Americans to black, and from all other types of names to black to African American. We've been reclassified so many times. We done been reclassified to so many different types of names for people to have this whole grand illusion of being stuck on black. Like I don't even get it.
Yeah, I think that like the. I don't know. I think that you gonna the struggle, like you want to be a prideful people. So you're gonna take what they gave you and then make it great, like black excellence and all these different things. We're gonna take whatever they gave us and whatever they decided to call us, and we're gonna try to make it the greatest version of it that we can. So that's why we stick so closely to it. So I mean, I understand it. What Unc say?
He said, I believe that's why they won't let us go down the Grand Canyon, because they know the truth lies down in that canyon. Q say that's not true. Call in, Q.
Call in, Q. Toad won't smoke.
Now I want Q to call in and speak. Like tell me what is true.
Funny.
We've looked at the reclassifications before. So you saying you done went to the Library of Congress is what it is, and you looked to go see what these you looked at the paperwork and seen the reclassifications.
We asked for proof before.
So and let me ask you this. So let's say that, and see, this is why I just find it like an entertaining conversation, but I don't really care about like joining Discord and listen to people go back and forth about it, because what is the benefit of it? Like you said, it'll give us a group identity, and then what? Because
historically, it was known that what is the benefit to us being indigenous? Because we all.
Oh, I mean, well, I can tell you, there are benefits of being indigenous. Yeah, there are benefits. The same way that you got the casinos and all this. The people have already gotten their reparations for what happened to them. So there is benefit to being indigenous for sure. But but what is the?
I'm talking about like for black people though. Like if we just say we're Indians, now they're going to do it. They're not going to do it.
I mean, you said just say it. You just saying it ain't gonna be enough. Just saying it ain't enough for sure. Just saying it ain't enough for sure. I mean, we've been saying we've been black this whole time, and we still reparations ain't came that way either.
So we think we Indian, we might get some.
No. What I'm saying is that but at the end of the day, if there's proof and it can be actually classified through the government that is grounds for getting something. Like the reparations claim, I think that it's easier to prove that it would be easier to prove that we should get the money with the native status versus that whole what transit, you know what I mean? That the reparations that they said that they already owe.
Whether we were native or transatlantic, it has to do with enslaved people. So whether you were indigenous and enslaved or transatlantic,
right?
The reparations have nothing to do with that. Now that's
no. What I'm saying, understand that. Well, that like the natives have gotten theirs. So
because those are the Catawbas. Those are like, you got to think of the Indians that made it. Those are the ones that look like us. So like, I
don't know what they look like back. You know what I mean? Because as a matter of fact, when I was in the military, okay, look. But I mean, there's already history of white folks. But hold on. There's already hold on. But I know that y'all were talking about the
What's the word, fellas?
What up, brother?
What up?
Let me get you. Let me get us a background real quick. Did that work? Yeah. All right. Cool.
Get in the background. That's what's up. Pop in. He called.
Yeah.
Work from home.
But yeah, what's the word?
Hey shit. How you?
I'm good. Y'all are currently engaging in a thing that. What was the title of the question? The identity crisis thing. Yeah. I think that y'all are almost engaging in a thing that is the issue why we have the identity crisis, in my opinion, if we do have one, which is, again, we want to run from all things that are kind of verifiable.
Go ahead, my bad.
And easy. Yeah. Verifiable for a story of grandeur that's based off of nothing. And that's like the entire native whole little thing. Like, there's actually no proof to it. Like, I've seen people continually attempt proof, and then it's checked, and then it's not true at all. And that's pretty much my major claim is that, Tone, you said the reclassification thing. No, I haven't went to the Library of Commerce or whatever you said.
Hold on, before we even get into this, you're saying that we wasn't reclassified, that we ain't been.
No, all right. So tell me if this, what you're talking, 9 times out of 10, what you're talking about is, and I forget the exact date. There's 2 different times in which classifications happen, where I think it was like the 16 or 1500s, where there was a reclassification that allowed Indians to be slaves and to be under the thing of slaves. That's where a lot of times when you hear like the FBA and the native people, they'll reference that. But if you just do a quick Google search, it shows you exactly what it says. And it's not they reclassified Indians to black. That's not what happened. That did happen inside, maybe it was like in Virginia post slavery, where there was like some a bill that was passed that did some version of reclassifying some Indians under the guise of black. But like, that's what the actual bill, not bill, whatever the statute was, that I imagine that you're talking about.
Unc said so. Q, you saying the picture that he showed you mean nothing?
Oh no, Unc proves my point even more. So for example, in my family, we have native blood, right? If you look at my grandfather, he looks like a black and native mix. If you look at his father, and this is the picture that he's referencing, he looks like a Native American. He doesn't look like a black native or anything like that. He looks about as fair skinned as you get. He has the super high cheek. Like, he looks like somebody that's on a reservation. That is the introduction of native inside our family.
So where did come from then? Where did the Native Americans come from then? If you could be mixed with Native, because that's what I'm trying to understand.
Native was introduced into my family after slavery, though. Like, in general, if you just look at North Carolina and South Carolina, a lot of like southern, like not southern, but southern states, generally speaking, most rural areas, you had natives and black people that did live around each other. that's where the whole little mixing of the things, like for example, Warren County, you have like the black people and you have the Halawasa You go to like Rocky Mount, you got, I think maybe that's like Cherokee and there's the black people, but they all have like traditionally lived inside rural places together. And that's where the mixing part came in.
So you saying that the generation of when it would have been our great grandparents is where it started.
Well, that's where it started in my family. I can't speak to anybody else. Like whoever has Indian, you could just kind of like look back and try and, you know, trace it or whatnot. But for my family, it was my mother's, is my great grandfather pretty much.
Yeah. For my and that's as far as I know. It's my great grandmother's.
I know from my
great. But and again, like this person does like they look like the traditional Native American though.
Where it started at.
Okay. Or did it? Do you know that it started?
Yeah, I can trace it back to that because my great grandmother's parent was, so that would have been my great great grandmother or my great great grandfather rather.
Okay. But that's some homework.
Still don't prove that those people.
TBI said, where's the source?
Yeah, TBI said, where's the source Q is talking about? And then he said, so we can point to actual Native people in our family, but for Africa, we have to believe stories and suspect DNA samples.
Well, you don't really have to like believe stories. To believe stories would be saying that there was a mass group of Native black people that looked like us, and they were enslaved. And then I don't know, like everybody got a nebulizer and just had to start believing that we was from Africa or some shit like that. Like that would be believing a story. But what you can kind of look at is documented proof, whether you want to talk about the documented proof of like the entire Caribbeans and like the Africans and whether you want to go to like the different plantations, the breeding forms, the way they broke slaves before they came to America. Like it's so much documented things that it's kind of hard to be like do like a what's the word? It's almost like we're doing like slavery.
No,
denialism.
Nothing because y'all don't ever want to go with like anytime y'all know something.
These ain't common facts that we grew up knowing. Now all of a sudden, without proof, y'all gotta change the narrative.
So any other time the education system letting us down, but the school taught us this now. Bring your proof. That's all.
But like you didn't just learn slavery from the school. Like I don't understand this.
What y'all talking about?
Like slavery wasn't just taught in the school system.
I'm gonna come with my stuff next week. I don't know what we keep discussing this. I'm gonna come with my stuff next week. You come with your sources that y'all saying all these people got all this evidence from, and that you have all this
like evidence of just like
evidence. I ain't heard of none. I've seen drawing pictures. Bro,
so like
you should know that I know how to do good beyond school too. I'm wise. I'm wise in my years, bro. I'm not just educated in the schools in the Rocky.
So Tone, just make it so you think that like everybody just was lying for 200 to like 300 years and was documenting the lies just off the strength?
Yes, I do believe there's a whole lot of lies. I do believe there's people who have construed history. So
from what is it like 1500 to 1700? But so from 15, just think about like to me like logic, it just seems crazy. Like from 1500 to 1700, there was like a orchestrated lie that also involved like Haiti, that also involved Jamaica, that also involved like the natives in Africa that went and got the slaves and then like put them on the shit. Like think about how much would be involved in a 200-year lie that also has no proof of there actually being a lie to it. Instead of just believing what actually happened. And what you have every bit of evidence for.
Number of people that I'm not saying that there wasn't nobody brought over here on the ship. I just think that the numbers are being exaggerated. I think a lot of stuff is being exaggerated to us to keep their foot on our neck. And I don't see how it's benefiting us to keep.
I don't see like.
If it was 4 million, how did that change anything? If it was 2 million, like how did the number, like how did them line about the number?
So I would assume that
help them, or how did that hurt us? Like lying about us where we came from.
Well, go ahead, Tom.
Pretty much it's saying I put you on a leash, and it's a constant reminder, especially when they keep making films about it.
But
fuck us over as natives. They brought us over here from Africa. Either way,
if we natives, then even within their system,
but
I say either way, it's still slavery though. Like I don't understand how that even wins anything.
Get up as slaves. So and that's the thing.
Why would they lie about it if we ended up as slaves either way?
Like I said, next week, bring what you're talking about. I'm gonna bring what I'm talking about. Because it's like my issue is that y'all so sure of everything. Like you so sure of what it is.
No, I'm saying this is what I was taught growing up, and nobody.
And why are you so adamant?
Told me proof against it.
Okay, my whole thing is what does it do for you? How do you get off on being a slave? That's what I'm saying. Like how they keep sitting there telling you you're a slave. Like I'm not saying this.
So like, are you saying that like we weren't slaves? Like I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You're saying get off on being a slave.
Get off with identifying your foundation as slavery. That's what I'm saying. Like y'all.
No, but I'm just I didn't start the conversation inside like identifying foundation as being a slave.
Because he said that our identity lies in being slaves. I don't believe that.
My bad. Say that one more time.
I didn't say slave.
To be slaves, coming from Africa to be slaves.
Or but according to you, we would have just been here in America and then became slaves also. Either way,
bro. The story doesn't take us away from slavery.
Bro, yeah, like I don't understand the argument. Like either way, it's still slavery, unless you just say that we weren't slaves at some point. And then that's like slavery denialism.
I didn't go there.
Then we supposed to
what I'm saying is I didn't believe that. We supposed to. I didn't believe that. I don't believe that the stories are all told the way that we believe that they're like that we've been told they happen. I don't believe all that stuff happened the way that we was told. That's all I'm saying.
So you think there was less? You think some of us were never slaves? And like just even throughout slavery.
Well, there was slave owners as well.
Yeah, we know there was black slave owners. We do know that. We
also what percentage was that?
People who had us in slavery outside of the white folk, but ain't nobody got nothing to say about them.
No, the Native Americans had us in slavery. Like that's the wild part.
Over here, that had us in slavery before the other slave trade even happened. So there was already evidence of people being over here being slaves before they even came over here. They just came over here and joined the party.
There was like what is the well you said next week you're gonna bring all the evidence.
These white folk did not single-handedly bring those so-called 12 million, as you've been saying, slaves.
No, but Tone, so like I don't need like where y'all getting the 12 million thing?
Google don't lie.
Hey, but real quick, fellas, where are y'all getting the 12 million thing? Like at the end of slavery. So listen, at the end of slavery, there were 12 million black people that were freed. There's nowhere that ever says that 12 million were brought over here. It was like somewhere between like 300,000 and 600,000 over the course of the 200, 300 years that slavery existed. But then you just have to think about the fact that during slavery, they bred black people. They were breeding farms. Like this was like an intentional thing. But there's never been like I don't know of anybody that says that on slave ships they brought over 12 million. That's not the argument.
Yeah, my whole thing is I don't believe all of these stories happen the way they said they happen. Like that's all I've been saying the whole time.
Google AI, I don't know if this is credible or not. Google AI said the Atlantic slave trade was forced migration of Africans to the Americas. And it said the enslavement of approximately 12.5 million Africans with 1.8 million dying during the voyage across the Atlantic.
So they successfully.
I thought that was common knowledge,
bro. So they successfully traveled over here. Like this is what I'm saying. Well, consider the reality of this. Do you know what it takes to load up a ship, literally to have?
I wonder how many
and travel across the ocean with that many people on the ship, like they told us.
But Johnny. So what you read makes it that you have to add that context. What it says also though is that like between the 16th and 19th century. An estimated 470,000 people were of enslaved Africans were directly transported to America. This represents a small fraction of over 12 million who were shipped across the Atlantic to the Americas, not America, to the Americas. And this is where, again, like America was the last stop. The smallest percentage of slaves came to America. The majority was like the Haitis, like the Caribbeans in general. And that's where you get this larger number, but there's never a claim to North America, the United States.
So where did the black people come from that was here during the Arab slave trade? Because that's a thing don't nobody want to talk about.
So the black people that were here during the Arab slave trade in America.
You know there was an Arab slave trade before the transatlantic slave trade. There was an Arab slave trade.
You're talking about Northern Africa, but I don't know of any proof of that happening in America though. Like that's you're talking about in Africa. There was an Arab slave trade in Africa.
What I seen, and I have to look this up again, but if I'm correct from what I remember, they had came to America. They put people in slavery because they knew of it from their country. So they came over here to America and did this, or it wasn't America at the time, of course, but they came over here and they enslaved black people that was already over here.
Again, like we'll just have to do the native episode next week. I think you can just bring the proof.
Everybody's so sure of stuff, and everybody's ready to argue over points that ain't like that. That's really my whole point about this. We're ready to be adamant and argue and take on the identity of slavery.
Well, you keep never going away from slavery.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how it's benefiting us at this point to keep taking on that identity. And
well, nothing you're saying or we're saying takes away from the slavery happening in the identity of it, though. Like whether you're saying the Arab slave trade or the natives turned into slaves or they came over as Africans, all of those still ended slavery. Like, I'm not understanding how you tying the two ideas together.
What I'm saying is literally, if you're tying the identity to slavery, like sitting there in your mind and just telling yourself, yeah, I just came from slaves. And even how we refer to people, like real people who were put into slavery, we refer to them as slaves, and they was people. That's the, you don't understand how that mentality worked. We still
right, but that's a different conversation though. Like if you're saying we should not reference slavery, that's something different.
I just wanted to so you went and you Googled what you was Googling, and we used Google AI. So I just wanted to see if there was any argument to be had on the other side that using the same source that you just utilized, right? So I asked is there any proof that black people were, let me see, I'll make sure I read it. Is there any proof that black people were here before the slave trade? Right. So that's a good question that would counter your argument, right? So Google says, yes, there's evidence that people of African descent were present in North America before the establishment of the transatlantic slave trade. While the arrival of the 20 and odd Africans to Jamestown in 1619 is often cited to the start of slavery in the Americas, evidence suggests that African people were present in the Americas earlier, both free and enslaved, as explorers, soldiers, and servants alongside Spanish and Portuguese expeditions.
Yeah, forgot about them.
So niggas already came here.
Yeah, but all right. So again, so now we're talking about like the expedition.
There's no proof. There was nothing that supports this.
But what you just said has nothing.
My whole argument has been like, and like that's what I was trying to say has been presented within this argument. Y'all seen how adamant he got about? Yeah, we were slaves. We were slaves. Like, why would?
Are you saying that we weren't slaves? I keep trying to understand this. Wait, but are you saying that we weren't slaves? Like, where are you?
That's not what I'm saying. Y'all not getting.
Like, but your bridge, like it's a big jump.
You cut me off before I'm making the point of what I'm saying, and you keep asking me what I'm saying.
You said it a bunch of times, but you keep jumping. But go ahead, my bad.
Bro, I'm not jumping. I done said it multiple times. We like being stuck on the whole mentality
over here for a long time. They say Kanta Musa, the uncle of Mansa Musa, the emperor of Mali, is said to have made a pilgrimage to the west, potentially reaching Americas. Then you got this just literally listing out motherfuckers that was already here, that already had been here. Or had already, not necessarily. What I'm saying is that
like that. Where is the proof of a black colony existing prior to Columbus in America?
Sure about slavery to dismiss me saying that we was over here. Y'all so sure about slavery that you just
what is that statement mean? We're so sure about slavery that we're just
you're just blatantly lying. That's all I'm saying.
But what's blatantly like? What does this statement mean? You just said this again. Y'all are so sure about slavery. Like, is somebody unsure that slavery happened?
Bro, nobody said slavery didn't.
What does that statement mean? So what are you saying? I'm just not understanding. We're so sure about slavery.
Okay, so once again, if you just let me finish my statement, like I keep saying over and over
again. Are you talking about like what black origin story is? Like us being from Africa? Is that not what you're talking about?
People like being attached to the idea of slavery. The other stuff, it don't seem like they want to be attached to, or even
like being an African,
because it doesn't seem to involve victimhood. Like that's really what it comes down to me. Like people,
but nothing you're saying removes us from slavery.
Attached to the slave mentality, and hey, we were slaves and been stuck on it because they want to have that attachment of victimhood that comes along with it. Because we want to say you owe me. That's what it is. That's the only reason to keep sitting there being adamant.
But what is them being from being from America beforehand have to do with any of this?
I didn't say I wanted to be Indian because they had better.
Like what you're saying, like what does that have to do with black natives?
There's a difference in saying I have claim to this land, this is mine, give it back, versus you owe me, you need to give me something. Please give me. That's the difference. That's what I'm saying. We sit like as a slave, you saying, hey, you owe me, please give me some. You need to give me back what you owe. As a native, or listen, as a native, you got the right to say, this is mine, I'm taking it back. That's what you got the right to say. How you gonna go beg and oppressor for something?
Wait. The Native Americans, the ones that they say are natives, they haven't been able to do it. That the statement still doesn't make any sense. But I'm gonna just leave it alone. We'll have a in-person one next week. That's cool.
Yeah, I want y'all to
let's go to some more other comments, bro.
Chuckle said, "How are you skeptical about slave ships, but certain about Mansa Musa's brother having North America crowded with niggas like Freaknik?"
It's just that, like, it's the burden of proof is so loose. Like when y'all be like Stretch Armstrong,
the only thing that I was
it'd be like
the
Moors came over with Spanish on Spanish conquest. See, black people were here. Like, what are we saying?
Did we not start there? When we first started talking
the
about
people that
we said the Africans went everywhere, so the first people that landed here were probably
okay. Well, it sounded like we were arguing. Okay. So
we're talking about the Black Americans and where the majority of us originated from. I think most of us can trace our ancestry back through the Spanish.
well, I mean, at the same time, okay.
That's my only point. Anything has nothing to do with
okay, so you're not debating that there was a population of black people that were native to the native. So you're not debating that.
There's no evidence of it.
So, see, he's debating it. So,
no, just show me the evidence. What population of black people was here, and just show me any version of evidence for it.
You were trying to clarify for the group, but he's not part of the group you're clarifying for. Niggas came from Africa.
That's the issue. Everybody want to be like some version of like a special origin story, but no, all y'all niggas trace your DNA. It comes nine times out of 10 is gonna be close to Yoruba or Igbo, West African. Whether you want to go higher or lower, that's what the shit gonna be.
Everybody traces back to Africa.
Right. But the DNA groups from them specific regions are very specific. Like if we were here for thousands of years prior to slavery, we would have a different DNA. Haplogroup? Like it's naturally different. That's the reason why they can differentiate between the Yorubas, or however you say it, the Igbos, the people from Mali, the people from like you can just kind of go down the line, but it's very distinct. If you've lived in a specific space for a long enough time, you have a very specific DNA group.
Scientifically, I think we started off everywhere, but like I think we was. That's all I'm saying.
Y'all just make claims that don't have any basis in proof.
Okay, so
it's so funny.
It's just, like y'all just want to believe something, but this is the identity issue. This is the identity crisis that niggas want to believe something. That's current day. In the past, niggas just want a grand like belief of something that has no basis in nothing, and it leads to nothing but confusion.
So let's make sure that we can go back to what the topic is. So that seemed like kind of where he's going is back to the identity crisis. Do you believe that we could, or do any of us believe that we could actually move past to correct this identity crisis? We could actually move past and not really give a fuck about which one of those is right, and move forward to a productive.
Because either way, you ended up in the same spot.
Right. Either way, the slavery, and then from there we are who we are.
Indians, whether it was slaves, there's still a lot of fucked up shit that happened to us in Black America. Period. Blank. And I think, and even when I was talking about like the suburban and the urban thing about bridging that gap, this is just a micro thing. That's just a microcosm of this big issue. But I think I don't see why that is something that help us. I don't see how. Growing up, I thought most of us came over through the transatlantic slave trade. I've looked up and I've had evidence of that. Even like I say, I went to museums that showed the slave market. You go down to King Street in Charleston, that was a slave market. That's what they brought up. A lot of the Geechee and the Gullah cultures in the low country of South Carolina is based on African. And so growing up, I just thought that's where we came from. And then a couple years ago, motherfuckers started saying we was Indians. Like,
based off what their grandma said.
I could agree with that. Like it was a fairly new, but I don't think that niggas was really even trying to refute it. Nobody was actually looking to see if there was any other options or what the history was.
To the South, this has been some stuff that's been going on up north. Like they've been talking about this stuff up north for the longest. We just started talking about certain stuff down south, like at certain points. But my whole point is, even you talking about the museums and everything, you don't see the benefit in there being a museum that shows that you was enslaved. Like, do you see a benefit for how, if you have an oppressor?
But that question right there, if we were Indians and still enslaved, how is that any better?
That's not even where I'm at. You keep getting off of the topic. I'm not trying to argue at this point anymore, bro. You can think whatever you want. All I'm asking is, do you not see an issue when they keep putting slavery in your face? Like, yeah, you was a slave, you was a slave, you was a slave. Do you not see how that right there would cause a problem? Why that would be an issue?
Yes, I can this is an easy agreeable thing, but this that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see how these points are connected.
I started talking about this stuff for in the first place, that they keep trying to attach us to a narrative, like the narrative that they told us. That's it. And we sitting there referring to our own people. We're calling them slaves, even though they was actual people. Y'all don't get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but again, like that's not like none of us have any of the disagreement there. That's why I keep saying like you're tying something that has nothing to do with that. Like if you're saying, is it necessary that every other day we get reminded that we were slaves and only attach our identity to that? I think that all of us would probably all say, no, like we've done way better things before and afterward. Like that to me, like that's a simple agreement. But I don't see how that ties into where we from. Like the black native, like, because no matter what, slavery is a part of like the thing. So like, should we just completely forget it?
My whole question at the beginning of the premise that I had put down at the beginning of this conversation when we came here, and he said that we was from Africa, and like pretty much it said our identity a lot.
But like being from Africa removes us from slavery, though. Like
I remember you saying that.
Yes, but you trying to say I'm identified as slave by just saying that we're from.
I'm from Africa, like that, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's a big jump. Like saying I'm from Africa removes slavery from it.
Was that what you got from what I said?
And that's not what I was trying to do.
Bro, I wasn't saying because you're from Africa that you identify as a slave. What I'm saying is there was more to us, and that we didn't have to we don't have to stay stuck on the identity of being a slave, like, or even keep referring to our people as slaves. Like, do you not get that? That's what I'm saying. Like, right,
but we weren't talking. But none of us, like, it didn't seem like Jonny identified us as slaves, but he said we were from Africa. I that's why I keep saying, like, I don't understand how this connects, because I wasn't identifying us as slaves. You keep bringing it back to that, but I'm saying we're from Africa, not that we should identify as slaves. Like, these are like different points.
Yeah, we'll have to watch this conversation back.
What is who's that? George? I think that's an A and K. King.
Yeah, King George.
Run Spain. So could they have not come over? Okay, he said, didn't the Moorish people run Spain? So could they? Oh, Unc done disappeared. I was about to put him on here. So could they have not come over or brought the Spanish here?
There were Moorish people on the Spanish conquest, whatever the word would be. Down inside Lower America.
Equals, what is it?
Black equals African. Africa itself the most diverse country. Racial categories are phenotypic.
Yeah, I was trying to understand that too. Millions of Igbos were enslaved by the Oyo Kingdom during the transatlantic slave trade. We went through a period of enslavement, but being a slave is not part of Igbo identity. And it's a lot of people who went through slavery, and being enslaved is not to their identity. Like, that's the main.
But none of us are saying it though. Like, we all agree with this part.
Keep on making me just because I think you're from Africa,
bro.
Nobody's making that point.
Statement. I really was. Igbos are the main goofies, with Yorubas being second.
The main goofy.
Oh yeah, that sounds like you weren't supposed to read that. That was
we are from Africa, but we are exclusively ourselves. I didn't say this. I was reading.
Well, yeah, we can move on. This will be a good part too for next week.
Honestly, I really don't give a shit.
Tom said he bringing the receipts.
I don't really feel that.
Don't turn. He said he bringing them receipts. I want to see them receipts.
I don't think that there's any benefit in either. Like, what difference does it really make? in my opinion, I don't think it really makes a fucking difference. Like and honestly, that's why, like, to me, it's fun for a little bit of time, but I kind of like blanked out because, like, at this point, I don't really care which one is like. Like I said, I believe what I believe, and you can not believe it or don't. I'm not
That
gonna
box made him tap out, boy.
I believe. I don't really give a fuck which one you believe because it's not gonna help anybody moving forward. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You can sit.
I still believe it was the same people, and I believe we've been called many different names. I'm just saying. All right.
Oh, let's get. I guess we'll get a couple of people in here.
Do you know? But before we even get there, do you know what the black people was called? Do you know where they came from? Since they came from Africa, which part of Africa did they come from, Johnny?
Well, I actually done genealogy. My sister did this, and we actually had like traced back to West Africa, Sierra Leone, some of those places with some of my.
Oh, that kind of.
So, do you ever heard of a part called Negro Land? Okay, so within Negro Land, within Negro Land, do you know what those people was called then that was brought over here as slaves? Because there was a specific people. It wasn't our people who enslaved us. There was another people who enslaved a certain group of people because they didn't want them in their land.
It was like it was a war, prisoners of war, right? That's what a lot of it was like, prisoners of war.
Yeah. There was a certain group, and they wasn't called black people at the time before they came over here. You figure that. You figure it. That's all I'm saying. Nah, I'll bring it for you next week because I just want to go through it. I just wanted you to know. I know what I'm.
But nobody in Africa was called black people.
Bro, that's literally part of what the whole thing was when we was talking about the identity crisis. And I'm gonna have to go back and look at this conversation because I didn't got lost even in the conversation. Some of it, like,
yeah. Hey.
Oh yeah, and poor uncle.
We're gonna come back. This is good.
Hey, what's going on?
What up,
What's happening, y'all? Me and Q was talking about this the other day. He makes pretty much kind of good sense what he's saying, but at the same point, I believe that some of us were here still, but I don't know, you know what I'm saying, if quite all of us were here. I believe in the, you know what I'm saying, the slave trade actually did happen. But how many people they brought over here, I don't know. And as far as in our family, I got proof on it, but I don't, you know what I'm saying, I don't know whether or not, you know what I'm saying, it was black people that were here, like, you know what I'm saying, they were definitively in masses and like that. But I do believe some of us were already here. And that's why I was saying about, you know, the Moors, didn't they, you know, they ran Spain. They the ones that taught them culture and everything, aren't? You know, so it wouldn't be a bad thought for them bringing the Spanish over here, and because they knew where it was at. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was some of them already here, so they had been here before. And the only reason why I kind of believe that's what happened, but you also got to look at how all history that we know of history was written by, you know, the Caucasians. And with them writing the history, they also changed the history into what they want, their version of it. And anything that makes them look weak or bad, they'll take out of history and remake it into the story that they want it to be.
For sure. But let me ask you this though. Is there credence to corroborating stories from non-white people also? Like, for example, the people in West Africa and them and their stories that corroborate like like everything that the Europeans or white people said. Is there not credence in that as well? Even if like we understand that the writers of history are the ones that win the war, right? I get what you're saying. You're always gonna make yourself look as pretty as possible. But to me, like if we get into an objective space, you could just corroborate historical events in what each group said that have no reason to actually corroborate with each other.
All right, can I just say something real quick?
Yep.
Now, with that being said, what you said, it made sense. But what I'm saying is, who taught the Spanish how to do all this stuff? It was black people.
Right.
Black people taught them how to wash their asses. So with them teaching them that, no, it's really the truth.
Oh
They
no,
did.
I know. It just
You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying from that right there, that meant that the intellect of the black people was much better than those people coming out in damn caves. So and also with that, why is it that they could come over here, but we couldn't?
Yeah. I mean, and then it's so funny that like even when I use the same resource y'all use, and it seems to me that like so Q, let me ask you this real directly before we move forward. You believe that there was no black people here before the transatlantic slave trade? You think that black
What do you,
people
when you say that, are you talking about like 100 years before, like it was a colony of black people? Or are you saying there was no black people that made it to the Americas prior, like in history, in which there's more proof there's more well, so like what you're likely talking about is like, correct me if I'm wrong, like if we go like the if we go like BC, have there been groups of Africans that had traveled over here? Like there's a case to say yes to that. This is also likely what ends up becoming Mexicans. Likely Mexicans are the Olmec Aztec people that ended up mating with the natives that came over the Bering Strait. And phenotypically, this makes sense. Historically, this makes sense. Like everything traces to that exactly. And this is likely what those Africans that also have similar whatchamacallit, and this is lower America. This isn't like upper North America. There's no like history of any version of these people being in North America. And that's where like what I'm saying. You're talking about did voyages come early BC? Yes. That like more things count to that.
Well, I mean,
but
okay,
these also aren't West Africans either. But like the people that come from what is modern day Nigeria, like this is also a different thing as well. Like, but there was no population of black people in North America when Columbus and them got here.
Okay. I mean, he said black.
But black is like that can also mean all of Africa, in which.
But it was no such thing as race.
Right. That is like black is such a general term to use to speak about.
It wasn't such thing as race, was it? Before,
but like during that time, it was way more. And Chikwe's in here. He's a brother from the area. Do y'all want me to? Or Tone, you can click it up if you want.
All right, yeah. Let's go to the next. We got Chuckle down here. What up, Chuckle?
Salute. Thanks for having me up. This is a very interesting discussion. Very fascinating topic. But I had a question about identity. So there's a difference between your genetic inherit, like where you're genetically from and the culture that you have. You can be genetically African and assimilate into the UK, assimilate into America, assimilate into Canada. So I don't understand why it's controversial that people who have genetic origin that originates in Africa recently could have been assimilated into another country. That's the first question I had. And the second question I had is, how do you center your identity on a culture or on something that your great grandmother or grandfather was? Like, how is that the center of your identity?
Okay, first, the center of my identity isn't my great grandmother. My point to the conversation that we was having was for people to be so sure about us, like people being sure about stories that we don't really know the truth to, and being adamant about the fact that, or attaching to the identity of a story that we've been told, but we don't really know the whole truth. I don't think we know the whole truth to that story. I think there is more to that story than we've been told. I believe that there was people over here before. That was really my whole sentiment. Whether people like attach themselves to Africa or if they attach themselves to America isn't so much of an issue with me, but it's people being so sure about stuff that they wasn't there for.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Where where I get evidence from, I'm a Bible believer. I actually do believe what the Bible says. And as I keep looking at evidence more and more out of there, that's where I'm identifying that of what I really think. But I don't talk about that because I don't want people to try to put me in some specific identity. And I'm still learning. But I don't want people to try to tie me to some specific identity because of what I'm speaking on. But just in short, that's what I really believe in. That's where my beliefs lie. I actually do believe what the Bible is saying about how the people were split up. There's a lot of evidence showing about how the people were split up. When you're looking at the names and all these names that they're saying in the lineages, when you start looking back at that and you see, you begin to see a picture of who people are and how names got changed throughout history and all of that. So I'm still exploring in that area. All I'm saying is people are adamant about a story and fighting over a story that we don't even really know is true. And we're stuck to an identity that we don't know is true.
But let me ask you a question. Are Black Indians, Moors, Black Hebrew Israelites, FBAs, Gullah Geechee, Louisiana Creoles, are these just the same people with different names, or are these different people?
I would very well say they could be the same people with different names. That's what I've been saying in part of this show, that I think we've had many different names at different points in time.
Right. So what about Egyptian Hoteps? Are they the same people?
Actual Egyptians, or are you talking about the people who identify as like the Hoteps in America?
Right. Okay. This idea of cultural identity. There are Black Americans who culturally identify with Egyptian Hoteps. There are Black Americans who culturally identify with being a Hebrew Israelite. There are Black Americans who culturally identify with being a Black Indian. And there are, mainstream Black Americans appear to identify as African American or Black. But there are, what I see is like a splintering of groups who are having identities that somehow separate themselves from slavery or attach themselves to another civilization. So I'm just trying to understand, how does one transition from one of these to another? Because I've seen that happen. I've seen a Moor become an Israelite.
It's cognitive dissonance. That's the word.
Right.
Okay, so just from what I know about different things, I would say like people probably change as they learn different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like as they get new knowledge and they attain new knowledge and they learn about different things or different factors, that's what usually changes it. Yeah, that's about the best way I can explain it. And I think we gotta have room to give people the grace to learn
their journey,
and to explore and to have their journey. I think we do have to have room for that. And we also got to look at history and start examining what actually is true. Because I think there's going to continue to be an identity crisis until we actually do find out the truth. Like Black people have been saying this for years. We don't know who we are. Like even when I was growing up, that was still a thing. But I know even in my mom's generation, that was a thing. Yeah, we don't know where we came from. We don't know who. There's a lot of people who don't know who we are. There's a lot of people who claim to know who we are. I do think there's something there that, that is to be found out, and to be found out why we had to be called all of these names. Like I think that, yeah.
And I think that if everybody was as confident as certain people are on what the story was, then we wouldn't have all of these subsets. Mm-hmm. Because everybody's not as confident as maybe Q may be on what he feels and what he's learned. Everybody's not as confident in that, so you're going to see these subsets of these groups are going to be created, because I think that what people are trying to find is the story that's going to be beneficial for their progress. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The story that's going to be beneficial for them changing their lives. You know what I mean? I think that's what niggas we're really trying to go with the thing that feels natural and that has the most benefit to us, versus like, just going with the slate. Like
the best story of grandeur.
Say it again.
The best story of grandeur, like what gives us the best beginning that takes us away from what we deem as negative or tragic, i.e. being Africans that were brought over here as slaves, and then that being as simple as our origin story.
Well, I think, because a lot of people don't see any like benefit of like saying that's what I am. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I understand it, and that's why, I don't care whichever way you land on it. It's not important to me where you land on it. You know what I mean? Really, who you are as a person, and like what you're trying to do with yourself and all of that. That matters more to me, of where you think Black folk, whether they were here or not. Like, ooh, to me that sit and argue about it for a long time. It could be entertaining.
And I agree. We actually have an opportunity to establish an identity that we all could agree on, or not even all got to agree.
Not gonna agree.
But we actually I don't know what we could establish an identity of out of today, but I think we are still looking for it.
I mean, clearly
after this conversation,
clearly.
Yeah. Will all Black Americans agree on the same identity?
And they bring out like this thing, and it's why they get so ramped up.
Yeah,
it is something that we're all grasping for. But like he was saying, in today's like in as Black Americans, FBA, whatever you want to call it, none of these stories really matter to our identity in 2025.
They
like
really
it's cool
do.
to argue about, and that's why like if there is something to some of these stories about something we could grasp, but I mean, if it's just the origin story, then it was been fucked up for the rest of the time. There ain't no merit in that story.
Yeah,
none of the stories have a lot of merit. So I mean,
it ties you to victimhood, and that's like Tone was saying.
Is what we have to do is just kind of like you say, get out of victimhood. It got to be based in like today, like our modern day, because like both of the stories ended up bad for the natives that were here, the Africans that came over here on the ship.
Right.
It was dark for all of them.
For sure.
So if we don't have an identity, like you said, we do have to find something to build on, but it has to be something like concrete, and it has to be a modern thing, and it has to be a progress that we're showing modern. So even like the suburban versus the hood, that could be one of the things where we could transition our struggle from just being a hood struggle to opening, expanding, and even Black suburbans, and that in our struggle. And I think stuff like that is how we're gonna bridge that gap and find identity in America, like as Black people. It ain't
For sure.
Looking across the
And it's crazy that like the fact that we are like what they say 13% of the population is like we're already not a really large population. We find ways to divide ourselves even further down, like to think, they believe that the native story and they believe that like, bro, come on, bro. We don't have to separate ourselves because of that story. That story is like we find so many ways to separate ourselves from each other. And it's like, bro, that's not beneficial to any group. None of these groups have any real traction because they're all separated.
Is it destabilizing to adopt an identity that's likely to change in the next 5 or 10 years? Like, will these identities that people are clinging on now, will they remain constant? Or does every time you change an identity, doesn't that kind of like destabilize you, where you are, you have a different origin, a different identity? Like how do you transition from one identity to another without and remain the same person? That this is very confusing to me. Go ahead.
And that's part of what I want to talk about next week, but I actually want to go back and bring more research so I can actually have the proof right in front of my face and not just be going off of my memory of what I've learned and stuff. So I don't want to sit there and tell you anything like unfactual, but I definitely do know that we've been reclassified in names throughout history, and I do think it's purposefully to, like, if you don't have an attachment to an identity, like you said, it's hard to be stable. So I think in changing those names throughout history, like all these name changes that we done had to go through, it put us in a place where we couldn't attach to a history, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes for the slavery as well. They beat the names and all, you know what I mean? They wanted to make sure that you didn't have an identity, and the identity, if you did, we was going to do our best to beat it out of you, and we'll make sure that you're not teaching this identity to the generations that come after you, so that we can we can create the outcome that we're looking for.
And now we all Toby.
Hey,
Toby.
I'm not Toby.
It's going from color to Negro to Black to African American. Changing identity, or are those different euphemisms to describe the same thing? I don't see those changes as changing identity. Those seem to be just different ways to describe the same thing. But FBA seems to be a departure from that altogether. It's saying that, these group of people who have this slave ancestry are one group separate from all the other groups. Like, how do you interpret, those changes?
Well, I know I'm not FBA, except I'm at lineage, but not like identifying as the movement and everything. But I have begun to understand to some degree what they're doing, even though I didn't agree with the methods off gate. I have begun to understand more of what they are doing, which it kind of makes sense. If you are going to go about a plan of trying to get reparations, you need an identity to go over, and black legally is not an identity. If I'm correct, they are making a flag and all of that stuff. Like they made it a thing where this is an identity. So I can't necessarily argue about or argue against that. I think it's one of the stages we may be in that will lead to change. I'm not necessarily part of the group, but I can show an appreciation for what they're doing. Like it's like in a lot of cases we got to stop looking at stuff like it has to be separate, because like some of these movements are working together and don't even know it. And that's really what it comes to. You can have one group that's working in an area, and you can have in one area and making progress, and another group that's making progress for all us in another area. So it's like I can't necessarily like go against them or say that they're trying to do, like, I don't agree with some, like, and this is how I feel about any group pretty much, like with the popularity schemes of certain things, like where people got to put out stuff to get the name known and all. I'm not into all of that, but the underlying foundation of what they're trying to do, I can't say that I'm like against that or that I disagree with that or that I find it as a bad thing.
I totally agree with Black Americans having their own ethnic group, because being a Black American is a unique environment, different than any other environment that Black people are in, different from the Caribbeans, different from Africans. So I'm on board with a delineation of, we have a unique identity. But what I see, the challenge is that not all Black Americans agree on what that is. Some Black Americans are saying we're freedmen, we're Negro, we're, Black Indians. How do you unify all of these different identities into one? Or is the idea to break it up into dozens of different identities?
I think that as it relates to FBA, what I've heard, I haven't heard anybody that is found like an actual foundational Black American say that they're not. Like, even if you know what I mean, I haven't heard them say like, oh well, I'm, let's say like, well, I guess you're not using like a religious group. I don't know a lot. I don't follow a lot of those, like those little, let's say I'm Hebrew Israelite, right? I don't think that they would say that I'm not a foundational Black American, because that is like the one that I feel like we're naturally will agree upon the fact that we are, you know what I mean? That right,
based on the modern times that we can have, as far as like something that is universally agreed upon.
Right.
Even we've talked to people from other countries, we talked to people here, Black people from all people calling from Africa on our show, and they all say that the Black American is a unique thing, and us as Black Americans, we recognize it and we say it. So that is one of the one identity things
that is more closely,
like constant amongst us. Now, it's a foundation. It's a base to build on, but it can't be the whole house. There has to be a lot more to it, or we have to agree on things.
And that's the thing.
Put on the foundation. But I think that's a good starting point. I think that's something everybody can agree on. We go past that, it gets
But then, on the base level, I've not heard anybody say that that's not
foundational Black American
for sure.
The struggles that we've been, the struggles post-slavery, post-Reconstruction, Jim Crow, hell, the crack. There's been so many struggles that we've all been through together. Modern times, outside of wherever we came from,
right?
Whenever we got here, and whenever after they did, that it's been our struggle since then. And I think overcoming that and the progress we've made, even the progress we've made in the last 20 years, is something that we can kind of hang our hat on as far as like the hood versus suburban. More Blacks are transitioning to the suburban lifestyle, and I mean, a lot of people, well, middle class, the middle class is growing. It's statistically, our kids are less crime, we're getting more educated, and there are numbers that back up us improving as a culture, like foundational Black Americans. We've almost doubled our household income in the last 20 years.
Oh yeah, we already about 2 hours in, fellas.
So I think that's the one thing we do have to, hang our hat on as far as like an identity.
Y'all want to let's get TBI
and then we're gonna change topics.
We're about to see Discord live right now.
Oh
and TBI.
Oh no, we gotta don't pull everybody up at the same time, but we don't want. We want him to just get off what he's trying to get off real quick.
Yeah, appreciate you calling in, Chuck.
Pause.
Hey, real quick. Hey, Chuck. Is that how you say your name, bro? Because we done said your name all type of ways. How do you say your name, bro?
Chuku. Chuku means
okay. Yeah, we know that. Bro, like Quintel, we call it Chuckway, Chicaway.
But if it makes it easier, just call me Chuck. Just call me Chuck.
Okay.
Yeah. Say it how it is again. I like knowing people's names.
Chuku Igwe. Chuku means God. Igwe means king. It means God is king.
Okay, cool. Chuku.
Oh, that's dope.
Okay, cool. I'll remember that, bro. I like knowing people's names.
Hey, appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
Respect.
All right.
Where you standing on? Oh, no, that's you just brought him up, right?
Yeah, no,
TBI. I'm tripping. Yeah, appreciate you calling, bro.
Yo, TBI, what's going on?
What up, brother?
What's good, brothers? Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good topic, man. It's a topic I'm definitely very passionate about, and I think it kind of going back to some of the stuff y'all was talking about our identity. I think it's very important. I think it's a thing that they didn't finesse us like Black Americans to not have pride in our identity and where we from in our land. They always didn't try to hit us with like a trick bag of saying like, oh, you from Africa or you from here. The Africans telling us we're American, the Americans telling us African. And it's just been a whole trick bag to where it's like, hold on, bro, we are from here. Like we got a whole like centuries of history and culture here. Like people look all around the world, look to us based on our culture that we didn't build. So it's like coming with the term of foundational Black American has solidified and made us a very unique group, because just like True Way that was on, he says it all the time. He's African American, and we never came up with that term. That term was given to us, African American. A lot of us has never been to Africa. We don't have any family, any tribes, any country, any ties to Africa, but they've been telling us we African American. So we didn't woke up and say, hold on, I'm really from America. Like all my family is here. I don't have any family in Africa. So it's like, it's very important for us to identify us. It's like, hey, we're different from everybody that's in America. We were here when the country started. When it was founded, we were here. That's different from somebody that came over 30 years ago, and then they can claim and say they African American as well. That's very detrimental, and it's like an erasure. It's like you're equating somebody that has lineage that goes back centuries to somebody that just got here 20 years ago. Because I can't go over to Nigeria and say I'm a Nigerian American. They're gonna look at me like, no, you're not from here. You're from America. But America has this weird concept where people can come over here and become a citizen, and we are supposed to put them as the same, like give them the same recognition as people that have been here for centuries and actually built and have inventions and culture and art and movements in this country. So that's why people are so passionate about it now. It's like, no, y'all can't erase us and equate us to people that just got here. We're a whole different lineage.
Do you think that has anything to do about that collective white too? Because they did the same thing on the other side, right?
Well, I think that's the
I mean, when you go to the white side, they'll say they're white, but a lot of people outside of us, we're the only people that haven't done this. A lot of people, when you meet them, they're like, hey, I'm from Germany. I'm from Israel. I'm from Bosnia. Like we're the only people like we just American, or we from Africa. We the only people. So it's a whole nother group. This new group we didn't, because our parents, they kind of like they floated with that African stuff, but now we're like, hey, no, our stuff is from America. All our history is from America. We don't have any ties. You can't tell me any tribe that I come from in Africa. But I'm supposed to believe it on some DNA test that they say they do for entertainment purposes.
But no, I think one thing you said that's important though, being like foundational American, is that a lot of the white people weren't here when the country started. 60% of some white people in the country now can trace their roots through Ellis Island. And so a lot of them were immigrants also. And
Right. Exactly.
Foundational to America. Most white people aren't even foundational
Right.
to America. Like I said, for hanging our hat on something, that's something we can have, because like, but that is one thing they do when they get here that I think Black people struggle with. I think that's one thing we'll struggle with as far as that American.
Yes.
That was a really good point.
That's
Yes.
what white people do. They be German, they be Austrian, Serbian, whatever. When they in Europe, they all fight each other. They don't like each other when they're in Europe, but they come over here and they all get along. And they're white, but it's an American identity, and that's the thing that Black people are fighting to be a part of. And I think that American identity, that's what separates us. That's what separates us here from other Black people, man. That's why we don't want to be tied to Africa. It's because we've got that American thing. That's the thing we don't, I think, embrace enough. As far as like, if we're not gonna say we from Adam, we African, that means we're American. But we don't take that identity. We struggle.
Yeah, we struggle, and it's because of the. It's a reason for it, though.
Right.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of propaganda, man.
I think it's a reason for it. I think that, and I've asked this question a few times. Do you think that it'd be beneficial for us to really embrace the American identity? And like I said, I went to the military, and even still, when I see the flag, it's still kind of, you know what I mean? We it's almost like you identify it with the white man, but we need to. I think that we need to, and that's I want to mature my mindset with it as well.
Because our ancestors bled and died for it, bro. That's why it's like I can't just give it up.
Something you just said, real like foundational American. We really probably the only ones who can have that claim. That's
exactly
that was a really good point. And yeah, we about the only ones who can have that claim because we basically laid the foundation of this country.
Right.
We can take Black out.
Yeah.
We just be like, who are the foundational Americans in this country?
But then the white people want reparations too.
You know, because they weren't foundation.
We just talking about America. Right.
Yeah. People that started the country, Black people. It was the British, the French, and the Spanish. Those were the four. And then Black people over here. Then you got the natives, whoever you want to call them. But foundational Americans, it ain't no Germans. They weren't over here. They ain't write the Constitution. None of that. They weren't here when George Washington and the motherfuckers was, chopping down cherry trees. It was Black people. That's all do that shit. And so like I think that's the identity. Even if you take foundational Black American, foundational American has to be something that we identify as, and we have to be comfortable with saying we're Americans and taking that
and some kind of pride in it.
Yeah, having pride.
See, and see, that's the thing. It's tough to have pride because of knowing the history is what'll make it be tough to have the pride in it. But I mean, at the same time, all of this is the American experience. Even like I'm talking about like post-slavery, like even with the what we deal with the police. You know what I mean? With mass incarceration, like these different things, these different constructs that are there that are to the detriment of us. It still doesn't. It's still an American. You know what I mean? It's still.
No matter how bad.
Real, can I ask you a question, bro?
Say again.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Yeah. So like, we talk about like the traumatic stuff that happened to us in America, and like that's why we don't claim it. But I mean, if you go over to Africa and all these Caribbean countries, they got the same thing, and you talk to them like, "Hey, I'm from Jamaica, bro. I'm from the Bahamas." Like they still prideful because they went through slavery too, but we the only one that been finessed and like played the mind games. Like, oh no, you can't claim America. It's like, but all these other countries had the same thing happen to them. And they probably fly their flags in America, put it on their social media.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for them, but there's also literature like within the Constitution that when it was established, they weren't considered us. You know what I mean? We weren't considered when they were writing the words in the way that they did. So then we had to later on. You see, I understand what you're saying, and I think that we should.
But he's talking about there's people that like in Jamaica, Haiti, but they fought for their freedom. Like the Haitians had the Haitian Revolution, they kicked the French out. Jamaica, they had Toussaint Louverture. Like they went and fought, and even to this day, they live.
Well, I'm saying we got a bunch of revolts too, man. You got John Horse.
True.
We got a bunch of revolts in America. It's a bunch of slave revolts.
We don't have sovereignty in this country. Jamaicans have sovereignty in Jamaica. Haitians have sovereignty in Virgin Islands.
I mean, because if you look at Jamaica, a lot of the stuff is ran by Asians, right? Like they can't even go to some of their beaches. So that's what I'm saying. It's like
they chose to make deals with China.
They can't. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like even in Africa, like a lot of the countries are not ran by Africans. Like a lot. If you go to a country like South Africa, most of the wealth is held by 7% of the people, which are white people.
You know, I just say that, like, I do agree. I do believe that we should embrace the American identity more. Like I said, I was in the military, and even when I came out after serving, I still felt the way. But I'm going to.
So what would you embrace then, Rell? Would you embrace Africa? Would you embrace Africa instead of America, even though all your history and your family?
What I'm saying is that, like, No, I wouldn't know because this is all I know. This is all my moms know. This is generationally. This is me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I thought the dashiki era was cool. I ain't buy one, but you know what I mean. I thought the niggas who was wearing them. I wanted to get my cross also on this side changed into a. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do it though. Yeah, I'm not gonna do it though. That was back when I was on my when we was man, we was in that shit tough. Yeah, that was the Sukasa era. Yeah, back what was that about 20? I got out in 14. Yeah, I got out in 14. When I came home, y'all was on that shit tough. I came home and shit was like super pro-black and pro-black men, Africa and yeah, nah, it was a time to be alive.
Hey, but I appreciate your TBI.
For sure, for sure.
Move along and get into
Yeah, man. But Q, cheer up, bro. You can still be African, bro. You can still be African, bro. We ain't gonna
Yeah, you sure?
You, man.
You sure?
Yeah, you could be African,
it.
bro. Just smile, man. It's all good.
All right, brother.
That was a close one. I almost thought I had to be a black indigenous native.
Africa, bro.
For sure.
The motherland.
Go ahead and get some. Hey, I guess we're gonna get into some memes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, so we got this rock paper scissors going.
I ain't gonna be able to do memes.
Why you can't?
Oh yeah, I think I got one or two. I'll bust your ass either way it goes. I would be the first motherfucker to lose, bro. I'm bummed.
You got me this week.
It's a psychology game.
You a lucky motherfucker. That's all that is.
Man.
You play the lottery?
Every week.
You play the lottery?
No, this is skill.
There ain't no motherfucking skill.
If it is, he ain't too skilled.
I can tell. I know where you from in the city now. You know, them white folks try to make that an actual sport. That sound like some. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
I'm gonna go first.
Oh man, this thing be acting weird.
Oh man, that's funny.
Oh, give me just.
So you gonna go first?
Let me put this back here.
You gonna be second.
Yep.
And you gonna be in your rightful spot.
I was gonna try to persuade you as well. You know what I mean? Tone was trying to get you in the box earlier and everything. You supposed to feel the way. You know what I mean? You supposed to feel a way about that man right now.
When you're in the right place.
You supposed to feel a way about that man right now, bro. Oh, Squidward laughing ass nigga. No, I'm talking about this nigga Tone.
Hey, your mom still love it though.
Oh, fuck you.
Okay, what you got, Johnny?
What I can't see it. Yeah, click the Detroit Rap Daily. Is the mom in the right or wrong in this situation?
So
I want to know, why am I cleaning your room and I'm finding money like this? No, I just need to know because I give you whatever you want. What is this? What are you doing?
I'm trying to figure it out.
You didn't even try to.
I gotta get outside. I'm outside every day. I'm not going to school.
I didn't even want to find it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get your fucking closet together. Look what I'm finding.
Life. I'm not going to school. I'm not
I
going
don't care.
I'm not doing nothing at all.
Where did you get it from? Where did you get the money
I'm
from?
doing a good job running the streets.
It's not a good
I don't like school. You can't make me go to school. Ain't no money at school. Every dollar I ever made was outside.
So you ain't been at school?
No. Everything I made was outside. Ain't no money in school.
I'm gonna put this in I'll put it in the CD.
No.
It'll be sitting there waiting to collect the interest.
No, I don't got
yeah,
for that
I don't
shit,
care.
bro.
You ain't gotta return it. We ain't gonna fight over it. We ain't gonna do none of that.
Come
It's
looking
going
for me
into
if
a
I don't
CD.
give them they half of their bread, man. It's not even mine.
Okay, well, baby, we'll move. This is going into a certificate of deposit. It's going into a section. You're gonna in about 10 to 15 years, you're gonna thank me.
Can't take that money to the bank.
I want to know, why am I cleaning your?
So for one, I think this fake.
I think so too. But
I seen a video.
But let's take it like it's real. We'll take it like it's real.
Yeah, I seen another video of them with the gun. Then she had took his gun or something, and he was crying. I'm like, yeah, this. Now I done seen that and make it worse.
Yeah. So what would your reaction be to walking into the room and your son, you find 200 racks And his response is like pretty much, I ain't going to school no more. Like I'm, you know what I mean?
Depending on it, you gotta go.
Yeah, I could be able to
you
go.
Got to go. Like you got to go. I'm like either we gonna figure this situation out together, and if you don't want to stop what you're doing, then you're gonna have to go. Like what can I do? Because
I mean, I wouldn't take the money, but you can't do it in my house.
Yeah, so you gonna let him keep the money?
Yeah, I'll kick him out with the money.
No, we're gonna pay back. We're gonna pay back who he owe if he want to get right and understand what the story is. Like,
yeah, we definitely gonna have to get.
Yeah, I don't want him to get shot.
Get safe.
I don't want him to get shot.
I'm not taking all the money. And he owes people. I'm gonna make sure he gets right with the people he owes.
And the crazy thing is, like, if you take the money, it's not necessarily that it's not about the money itself. It's about where it comes from. But I mean, I would feel really shitty about the job that I did as a parent.
Yeah,
that would be. You know what I mean? Because like that's how I always think. It's my fault. It's what I always get to. It's my fault, bro. So I didn't do what I needed to do.
I mean, but 200,000 is like that's the
cash.
That's the hard temptation. Like even if you're doing a good job, 200 grand, you wouldn't give him like 200 grand is a lot of money. And
man, I didn't.
Why a kid could get trapped in if he get that.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I done had to deal with consequences too many times for stuff that I think I'm getting away with, and then it has always come back to bite eventually. Like it might not be when you think it's gonna bite, but when it come back, it's gonna be like, dang, I should have did that right.
A kid, once he touch that kind of money, what are you?
Oh, you can't convince him not to do it anymore.
Like so, you gotta just like help him do it smart. Or until we can't do it,
and you're gonna get arrested.
I ain't helping you do it.
You're not gonna convince him to drop the life.
So I mean, when she said the meme said she called the police.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
She didn't. I'm just saying, just based on the words. Would you call the police?
No, I'm not calling the police. That's why I clicked on the video.
That's a rough one for me, bro. Because I don't know, bro. I don't have an instant answer like you. Like, no, I'm not calling. I have to think about it.
In my house, my mama let us know. My mama.
You didn't catch him doing nothing. You didn't even catch him with the drug. We gonna call the police and say your son got.
But then think about it. He also telling me I'm not going to school no more.
And I got $200,000.
And I'm getting it from outside.
Different situations. Like you still gotta go to school, but like we can deal with money. Like I might not say that.
Yeah, that's just one of them.
If he got 200,000 from the stock market and he tell me he ain't going to school, look, I just don't want you to be dumb. At least get your.
Oh yeah.
But he got 200,000 out the streets. That's the streets. The stock market or some legal stuff. If he doing that and that's how he getting off, hey, son, I'm gonna support you and I'm gonna help you still get your stuff right. We're gonna go get this GED. You still gonna get your stuff right, even if you ain't gonna go to school.
And one thing,
I'm joining the drug trade with my son. Y'all
I can't go. We got my uncle coming. He just came home after doing a dub. 20 years. My uncle was locked down. He'll be on our show. I'm gonna let him tell his story. Next week he'll be on the Who You Talking To show, and we're gonna talk about, you know what I mean, from the beginning, how he got started. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a fun conversation. But what I was gonna say is like we you know something that I think is actually maybe because it's unorthodox, but like we frown upon like the GED in a way that I think is funny, because the thing is that we already know that the system of schooling is not beneficial to a lot of men, which is why you see the male dropout rate be as high as it is comparative to the female rate. What I would tell you is that I wish I would have known earlier. I wish I wouldn't have felt like it was a big difference between like the GED and high school diploma, right? Because I would have gotten to a lot less trouble if I would have left school earlier. I would have went ahead and got that GED. I got my GED, and honestly, I was able to go to school right when everybody graduated. That was in my, you know what I mean? So I literally still went with the class and everything, but I quit school, went to work, and went and got my GED. And it's like, bro, y'all niggas are still in class. I mean, I can understand the social aspect, but it's that even the social aspect is a lot of time to the detriment.
I think it just depends on what you want.
Like what?
If you're trying to be a doctor or what,
I don't know how that will work.
But
you don't.
If you're trying to be a doctor or lawyer, a GED is gonna cut it because you still got to go to college to get your degree, and once you got that, then that cut.
And you get accepted into the master's program and all that.
Not necessarily, because
I'm telling you, bro. The thing is, it's the equivalent for a reason. It's the equivalent for a reason. Like, well, I will say it's not necessarily actually equivalent because
no high school diplomas ain't made the same. You can have AP and IB. There's different levels to even high school.
right, but then the thing is you take the SAT. You see what I'm saying? You get the GED, take the SAT. If you sharp, it'll show itself within that as well.
See, I'm not against it, but I think and I'm not saying that you get a GED, you can't go do whatever you want to do. But I'm saying the regular school diploma rep, if you have a plan, especially like with college, I think college they offer a lot of bullshit majors that get people in a lot of debt, and I don't necessarily agree with that.
Hell no.
Like STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. The high school diploma is gonna help you. It'll help you with those types of things. And
probably, I can see that. I can see that.
Like the certain programs they're gonna have when you get your high school diploma. You do your high school diploma, you probably have to take a computer programming class at some point. Where a GED ain't gonna make you do that. And so there's different requirements that I think I think just helps a little better versus the GED.
I could see.
Not saying there's nothing wrong with the GED.
Yeah.
I see why the high school diploma still sits there because there's a
and I'll draw back a little bit of the smoke I came with it because I actually did ended up in order for me to get into the Army when I went in with the GED I had to have at least 17 credit hours of college as well. So it's not the equivalent in the way that I kind of said it because like I said I just so happened to have 17 fucking credit hours and that's how I knew it on the head, bro. That's why I know this wasn't my plan, bro. This wasn't my plan, bro. I'm talking about I know favor, and Mom Dukes always tells us growing up favor ain't fair, and I know it just ain't. You know what I mean? The shit just I don't know what to tell you. Facts. But yeah, my bad. Go ahead. You good? You got another one?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I ain't even go. Now go up. Go up one more time. It's a class.
With the hot service.
Yeah. It's a.
Do not touch must be one of the scariest things to read in Braille.
Motherfucker head come up off that bitch. That's crazy. That's crazy. We coming up with some funny stuff, bro. Why was that?
I don't want to spend $400 for a car, so I'm like, "Hey man, how much is this?" Nah, how much is this? So finally, the old guy says, "Yo man, you asked about all these cars. Can you afford them?" Now I'm pissed. I said, "What the fuck you just said to me?" So I buy 3. That one, and I want them dropped off. Move the seat back today. I want them dropped. So I got 3 Rolls Royces that never dropped. So they go another $1 million. That's 6. I don't want to spend $400.
Yeah. So y'all remember that meme we showed about how to sell to the Negro?
Yeah.
Yeah, he fell for it.
He got.
Yeah.
I don't even think nobody did that shit on purpose. But just wasn't trying to waste his time. You asking a lot of questions, big dog. You even I don't know when this was. I imagine.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, yeah.
I imagine the person doesn't know. You have to know Shaq.
Oh, now for sure. I think he was talking about that. I think that story was about when he first got his bread.
Might not know
that he, yeah.
That's a dumb question.
Especially if he let the dude that pissed him off make the fucking sale. Then he won. Like he won all the way around.
But as a silver, that's the type of look I like to have.
Man, you can't even buy it. You can do that.
Yeah, I told you.
Shit like that nobody said that to a customer if you're trying to sell a car.
But do you know?
But you say that thing he's not gonna be. You're like, oh shit, you can't afford it. He'll probably sell to that broker.
After that, yeah. You know something that I seen. It was a chick from BMF, right? She did a Vlad interview. I don't remember. She was dating one of the niggas. I don't remember who it was. But and she was pretty. She went and did her time and came out and became a car salesman. I don't know if women don't understand. You can, as men, we kind of just, you know what I mean? We ain't got it all the way together. A beautiful woman can convince a man to buy some shit. Very much. And he ain't gonna want.
Bro, the cologne sales down there. That's why I don't go there.
Yeah.
The sales counter, they be knowing. Like,
Yeah.
put your, ooh, that smell good on you.
What bro walk out there with? He got. Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. A beautiful woman to make a nigga spend some money that he know he ain't got. Motherfucker be done maxed out the credit card.
Buying 3 cars from a hater out of spite is nasty work.
No,
yeah, I agree, because I wouldn't have bought nothing. Be like, you know what? Nah, I can't afford it. And then I would have got one of his co-workers in there.
I ain't gonna lie.
Bought it from him.
I
Hey,
probably,
you come here. You know who I am. Okay, I want this Rolls Royce, this one, and this one. You could have got commission, fool.
driving some shit you wouldn't have drove. Yeah, the Rolls Royce, yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
I'm
All right, let me see where I'm starting at. Oh yeah, I know I'm starting at, because I seen this. I was like, dang, that's crazy. Because I thought, you be sitting there finding out like something you did when you was younger, everybody did, and you thought it was like unique to you.
I know all the time I was coming up with these words. Like, me and my people around me, we would say certain words, and then I thought that I was like coming up with them, and next thing you know, motherfucker, everybody saying shit's like, damn, how
Say goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Our hearts can't stop
Bro, I used to, this is literally what I used to do when I was riding in the car. Like, you know, the old Roswell on the highway.
Goodbye, goodbye.
Right? Look at the raindrops on the car and be like, which one go like?
Always when they connect.
Talking about racing the raindrops. But bro, I swear I used to think I was the only person to imagine somebody running on the rails.
I ain't never.
Bro, I used to imagine somebody running on the, literally how he just seen that. That used to be me when I was younger, bro. I was like, yo, that is wild.
What was that shit you used to call punch buddy?
Punch buggy, no punch back.
Yeah, punch buggy.
Good,
yeah. Well, I spy that used to be what you had games in the car. You come up with little games.
Oh no, I did have some games in the car.
They had no fucking phones in that. We was like creative.
All right, let me go to the next one. This is kind of funny. I'm gonna do the funny stuff first.
Oh, this is funny.
You see it?
Yeah.
Yo, what's good, bro? What you got going?
I'm literally just trying to get this temperature stuff going on with Ken.
Oh,
Trying to bring our temperature down. Why was that?
no, I'll just call and tell you good night, bro. Sweet dreams. Hello?
What?
Hello?
Yeah, what do you mean good night?
I'm about to lay down, bro. I'm about to get in the bed. I just want to call and tell you good night, bro. Sweet dreams.
Yeah, but nigga, why the hell you call? Why are you telling me good night?
I hope you sleep tight, bro.
Nigga, what?
All right, bro. I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow, man. Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.
We just crazy.
What do you have going? What sweet dream, nigga? I'm a grown. What's going on?
Yeah, bro. I can't wish that you sleep good tonight, bro.
So,
Nigga, when in the hell have you ever wished that? Why?
Yo, what's good?
You.
Oh,
What's up, bro?
what it is, man?
Shit. I was finna, I said I was getting in bed. I was just calling to tell you good night.
Fuck you be, you call tell me good night.
Shit, bro. Chilling. Gonna get in bed. Tell me good night. Sweet dreams.
Straight call?
Yeah. I was calling to see if you was alright. Just telling you good night, bro.
Man, fuck, nigga, I gotta go to work. Nigga, I'm on the way to work. You talking about good night, nigga?
Well, I was getting in bed, bro. I didn't know. How I supposed to know?
What you telling me you getting in bed, though?
Bro, I'm just telling you good night. What the fuck? Why you acting weird?
Hey, man, I don't know what you want, Rutabaga? You call Tehran?
Bro, all I said was good. I'm calling. Listen, I'm calling everybody. To all the niggas, I'm telling good night, bro. All my boys. What the fuck? You.
Bro, there's plenty of them. I just thought that joke was hilarious, though.
yeah, that shit's hilarious, bro.
Bro, you would call me and say good night. I got ready to do it. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna show it on the show.
That shit's
hilarious.
hilarious.
Like, bro, I know this nigga ain't calling say good night, bro.
The sweet dreams just took me out, bro.
Hey Q, what you doing? Somebody call and tell you good night, bro. You in Daytona, we might call and tell you good night tonight, bro.
No, it's gonna be a quick phone call.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm laying here in the bed, bro. I'm
sneaking there with his shirt off.
Yeah, bro. So I'm like, bro, that's crazy. All right, this will be my first. Or it might go serious, but this is.
My opinion of women of the 80s is that they have lost something as far as their femininity. I'm proud of being black. Can't be no more than what I am, and I want my woman to be the same way. I feel more comfortable. Right now I'm not comfortable because I don't have a woman black enough for me.
I think the ladies of the 70s were more independent, but the ladies of the 80s would be more dependent on men. Mostly because they've been outside in the world and that they've seen how hard it is out there.
You see a lot more women in graduate schools. You see a lot more women in executive positions, and a lot more women owning their own offices and businesses. And I think men are becoming scared of that.
The opportunities for the black man, like I say, are not equal to the white man. They are more on the level of being under the black woman.
They're only concerned with themselves. They have no religious or no convictions whatsoever, and sex is usually their first priority.
How I feel about the women here in the 80s, that they are beautiful, fantastic, and most of them have the jobs. So stick with them.
The male mentality is a little shaky, like weak. But I don't blame the men fully because there are a lot of dense women out here also.
Well, I think they're more independent now. They look more toward a single life, not really a husband and wife relationship as they used to in the past.
I think it's about time for everybody to get their act together. I think that the women depend on the men depend on the women, and if we all work together as a unit, then we can get something done. So I'm calling all men, be a man and do what you're supposed to do spiritually, financially, and mentally. And for the women, we got to stick with the men, encourage them in every area. And I think that if we do this, you'll find that the children will grow up stronger with a lot more love in their lives and not looking so much for the things of the street.
My opinion of women of the 80s is
that, and he looked like the is it Key and Peele dude?
Okay.
Yeah, he looked like Key and Peele dude. Yeah. One thing that I liked about that last woman was that generally I was thinking that what she was gonna do was she said she started out wonderful, and then she was like, when I would say to men, and if she would have left it there and not had the women to tell women something on the back end, that shows that it was genuinely in good faith. Mm-hmm. And so I that was go ahead. This ain't new.
Ain't new.
It ain't new. Yes. Yeah.
That's like literally our parents.
Yeah.
Those were our parents. These was all born in the 80s. Those were the conversations they was having before we was born.
Yeah.
So it is crazy that now we're probably in that same age, and we're engaging in them same fucking conversations, even though
because
you know a lot better than them.
Yeah, the crazy part, that was our grandparents because that was our grandparents because our parents was growing up at that time. In 80, my mama had me at 19. So yeah.
So but they look like they were probably a little older. They were probably in the late 20s to early.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So that would have been like our grandparents' time and everything. Yeah.
Some of them were like 22. The 80s was rough.
Now, the more I keep looking back, I used to think that at one point that like, but I'll be looking back at certain stuff. I'm like, to some degree, it looked younger, but it's just like what we thought, like our perception at the time was different. Because when I look back now, younger kids would be like, nah, that looked 14. Yeah.
Nah, yeah, so we were young, yeah, that makes sense. As we get older.
Yeah. But overall, I thought what was interesting about that though is that we still talking about the same stuff in 2025, like, and that was in 1980. I mean, and some of the stuff that they said we have seen the results of transpire. Like it's like, hey, nah, you didn't know how spot on you was with that. This is what ended up happening. But yeah, most of it was stuff that was already happening anyway.
Yeah, niggas talk about you can tell it's been kind of crazy for a while because a lot of the time when you see they talk about that the government assistance was replaced the black man, and that was in like 64. I know that they implemented. Well, this is I just wanted to make sure that 64, but I know that they initially implemented the original government assistance in like 1935 to combat the depression. So that's where it started from. But then, oh no. I was just looking for that the 1964 date for when the food stamps. So like that right there in itself tells you that this ain't no new conversation that's happening.
Yeah. All right, and then let's see. Q, you got any takes on that? You on mute, bro? Or you?
My bad. Yeah. Not necessarily. Yeah. Hey, like it seems like it just confirms ain't nothing new under the sun. It's been the same circular conversation, almost exact same talking points that in 1980 was a thing, and where they appealed to the past of 1970. Now we say the same thing and we appeal to like the past of the 90s, and you know what I mean? Like it's the exact same conversation where it's relationship dynamics and nostalgia mixing itself to be, the gender war.
Mm-hmm. All right, and this will be my last one right here.
Yo, after listening to this, I think it's just wishful thinking now. Like
you got
trying to save this young generation is like they on a whole nother demonic level that might can't even be saved, man. Listen to this.
Interview done with some YNs in Houston. Listen to how they described what motivates them.
Nobody want to be the cool no more with the hoes, you know what I'm saying, with the money and shit. They don't respect that no more. They respect who got the most hats, who got the most souls, you know what I'm saying, who killed the most people.
This ain't no safe shit.
Nah,
this ain't no safe shit. You safe because you with us, though. I got a bunch of motherfuckers who ain't gonna let that happen to you.
I appreciate that.
All right, so it's not about hoes, it's not about money, it's just about who kills the most people.
Which those used to be the excuses. There's no way to make money, and now apparently they've put that to the side, and they're just trying to run up a body count. And if someone says something like this, you send in the federal law enforcement.
And everyone in the background going.
Now, for one, our coach is so fucked up that you just see how comfortable he is just saying YNs.
That looked over
like
there.
This is what we created. So as mad as I am of him saying that, I can't even get that mad because our culture created that way anybody just
one ear and out the other. Obviously. Same shit. You just an easy way to get away with it.
Feel they could just say that. Yo, the YNs and yo,
it's the same thing. Y'all say YNs.
Are you okay?
YNs.
You understand what I'm saying? This
is they just say it. It's like, we don't give a fuck. Y'all say it. We can say it. Might as well. Oh no!
The matrix we in now. Listen to what the young boy saying. He said it's not even about the money and none of that.
Happened in front of me before.
Okay, I'm starting this one over.
What?
Y'all? He ain't got to what he's saying in the meme hardly yet.
Yo, after listening to this, I think it's just wishful thinking now. Like trying to save this young generation is like they on a whole nother demonic level that might can't even be saved, man. Listen to this.
Interview done with some YNs in Houston. Listen to how they described what motivates them.
Nobody want to be the cool no more with the hoes, you know what I'm saying, with the money and shit. They don't respect that no more. They respect who got the most hats, who got the most souls, you know what I'm saying, who killed the most people.
This ain't no safe shit.
Nah,
this ain't no safe shit. You safe because you with us, though. I got a bunch of motherfuckers who ain't gonna let that happen to you.
I appreciate that.
All right, so it's not about hoes, it's not about money, it's just about who kills the most people.
Which those used to be the excuses. There's no way to make money, and now apparently they've put that to the side, and they're just trying to run up a body count. And if someone says something like this, you send in the federal law enforcement.
And everyone in the background going.
Now, for one, our coach is so fucked up that you just see how comfortable he is just saying YNs. Like this is what we created. So as mad as I am of him saying that, I can't even get that mad because our culture created that way anybody just feel they could just say that. Yo, the YNs and yo, like, are you okay? You understand what I'm saying? This is the matrix we in. Now, listen to what the young boy saying. He said it's not even about the money and none of that no more. They out to see who got the most souls. Who got the most bodies. Fuck the money, fuck the cars, the jury and all that. Yeah, we might book somebody and rob them and we might kill them for that. But what we really out for is who could snatch the most souls. is I can't see it that being saved, man. Like I can't see people. This shit is just out of hand. And we grew up, like they say, you breed something worse than you. We grew up doing a whole bunch of demonic shit too. But we would justify it and say we was killing for the money, we was killing for the jury, we was killing for all the other shit. They said, fuck all that. We killing just to kill, just to see who got the most bodies. And the crazy shit, the young girls is attracted to that. The young girls coming up in that generation, under that drill, under that, that's what they're attracted to. Yeah, they might want a couple of dollars and all that, but they want the guy who's known to have the most bodies, who's drilling the most, who's spinning the most. It's a whole different energy out here. It's a whole different breed of demonic shit. And yo, like I said,
he
going for a long time. I've actually watched that documentary. And he goes every place. And he does that. He finds the hoodest motherfuckers. Any place he goes.
Motherfuckers. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
Well, I didn't want to call him YNs. But he finds the hoodest people everywhere. And they all say so. So I don't really believe it because I've seen them in different cities. I see usually the thing this.
You don't believe what?
I think the people just get on camera and just say the shit, bro. I don't think like.
So you don't think that there's a city where motherfuckers
that they really on that type?
Well, you don't think that there's a city, there's a place where we know that there's very, very impoverished. Oh, I already knew that's what you was gonna say. Nobody's saying that.
Yeah, I don't
think these people are actually like that. I think they're getting on camera and trying to be cool.
Oh yeah, sounding super tough. Possibly, I ain't gonna.
He goes and do it, and they all say similar things. But like, I think it's just they're interviewing them, and they want to sound as gangster as they can. And I think it's just all a clout thing.
I seen where it was.
They're actually killing because, like, if they're actually killing, or they say we respect them, that means there's serial killers out here walking around. And
oh no, there are.
Yeah,
yes.
I had a recording.
I've listened. So I'm talking about no. Like I get okay. So you're saying when like these white and they spinning on people, they're getting away with it. No, these people are snitching. These people.
What I'll say is now is much harder, but there are certain places where it's not even that serious. If they know that you are the same person, that type of person that killed you, like they'll look at it like that's good. He's gone. I sit there and listen to a lot of you. It depends on who you are. So like a lot of the time, even like they're saying like now it's harder to get away with it. But in Chicago, I listened to a lot of the interviews in Chicago. They said like you could get away with it easily. Like you could get away with it easily. It wasn't like so like now it's super hard, especially if the person's important or if you did it in a specific area. But if y'all just over there killing each other and that's what you know what I mean, and it's just the hood, they'll let that shit rock.
What made it harder in Chicago is that they actually got on the movement within their own city. The people started fighting back. They haven't been for it. There was a long period of time where it wasn't no killings going on in Chicago, and they wouldn't highlight.
There was a time where it was when they called the truce for a minute. Oh, I'm not saying that, but I mean we also don't know when that came out either. But it's got to be since YNs came out. It's got to be since YNs came out.
Okay, so what I will tell you though is no, they're not saying whatever. And even in 2018, I was recording at a recording studio. There were multiple groups of young guys came in like that. So I know it's only gotten worse. Like,
but you think all the boys are killers, or you think there might be like one guy got in the fight? I don't think people are killing.
No, it's you still thinking from the lens of where it was with us. They are encouraging each other to kill, and they mean that shit. Like,
and I ain't gonna lie,
it's all a super minority of these young kids.
Nobody's saying it's the majority. That is the question that you asked.
But what I'm saying is when you're looking at these groups like that,
what the guy said, he's talking about the generation can't be saved, that we're done for, it's dark.
Oh,
I think he was saying that kind of mentality couldn't be saved.
No, he's saying that he think that he said he got no hope in saving.
That don't represent all of us.
For sure.
Getting on camera and trying to look cool and gain clout. That's not how the average person thinks.
I'd agree.
The average young kid thinks. These are people like it's a very isolated situation, and he goes in these different cities and he finds
the worst.
Look for the worst of the worst.
Right.
Put them on camera and get them to say the craziest things.
But hold on, how are you gonna say all of that? You just said if you're finding the worst of the worst, then it's true.
But I'm talking about as far as like a representation, and he said to the guy, the black dude came on here,
Yeah.
like it's over for us. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Talking about the generation that's
Over for that generation. Yeah.
I don't think that represents all. I think it's a super minority that's putting on.
I agree, Down B.
You said what did he say?
These young dudes ain't killing like they was during Larry Hoover's time. Killings are way down from them times.
Oh yeah. No. Oh look, you saying something different than what he's saying. At the end of the day, and this is the thing. Like I hate when we have this time, and it's so fucked up that we had shit like the crack epidemic come in, and then we're a lot of the times we'll compare ourselves to data that was dated back from that portion of time where we were at our worst. So like
Larry Hoover wasn't the crack era.
Larry Hoover.
Larry Hoover was before the crack era. He been in jail since like 1975.
But I was okay. The Larry Hoover thing, right? So of course it was really bad then, but it was that gang shit that's like the because that's in Larry Hoover. All that shit's from like Cali, right?
Nah, that's Chicago.
Oh, Chicago. Yeah, Chicago. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, anytime you have that dense population of people, and it's like the gang affiliation is really, really heavy, you're gonna see that just like it is in California. Like, you know what I mean? That and it's not as bad as it was during, you know what I mean, years ago. But like, right. And then if you do have that gang culture, then you're gonna have a larger gang culture in a place where it's more people. You know what I mean? And then it's probably gonna be more poverty in the area. You see what I'm saying? So like, what I'll say is that does exist. So like it sounded like to me you were trying to say like it's all that was just fake. These niggas just faking it. But I know a young boy right now.
I think a lot of these boys do get on camera and fake shit.
No,
yeah,
I mean at the end of the day,
like that, it wouldn't make sense. The traction that cuz get
for sure.
So why you think these are the real?
What I'm saying is that no. What I'm saying is that you believe that they don't exist. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying the people that get on camera and talking like that.
Well, I can tell you this. Okay, so back in the day, they did ganglands. So look, I'm gonna give you an example. Back in the day,
a music video right now. I can show you a music video right now where these niggas is in. Like I was with the crew who recorded this music video. Them niggas was doing everything they was saying. And you can see the evidence now, years later, that they was doing everything that they was saying. Because some of them dead, some of them locked up, all of them done been in trouble and shit. Like all of them done got in all type of stuff. But they was doing exactly what they said. And even when I was recording these cats in like Elizabeth City, like what people don't know is y'all talking about the big towns. If you go to the small towns, some of these small towns, they really believe that people be doing what they saying in the songs, and they be doing it.
That should be crazy. Really it's like that in Mississippi too.
My thing is like so like how many people are killers? And like because most times when I see somebody get killed on the news, if you follow the story, they usually arresting the person who does it. Like I don't see a lot of like people just getting away with murder.
Well, why would you see that? You wouldn't see it.
But you hear about like 2 people shot, and then you can
right
to the story, and you can see person was arrested. And most times when people get shot, there's usually somebody arrested.
Look, nigga, if you're watching the news, you don't know what you're talking about to be true, Johnny. You're not getting the stats from the hospital. It's saying how many people were shot, and then you know what I mean. You're watching the news where they're telling you that somebody shot and then got caught.
Even saying person arrested, like if you keep following up, you will see a lot of time these people get acquitted because they be having false evidence.
I think Johnny talk about murders, not just shot.
Man, I don't think people out here like I don't know. I think it's a small minority. I think a lot of people get on camera and be capping just to look good. And
well, I mean,
there are people that do stupid stuff,
especially those guys.
I mean, just look at this.
There's no reason that they would be telling the truth at all.
So my thing is that like it was absolute factual that King Von was killing people. They what you call it did a whole thing that said like he is a serial killer.
Right. But that's why King Von was like he was such a rarity. Well, like even when you hear the people in Chicago,
what I'm gonna say is that
you hear the people in Chicago talk.
Those guys in Chicago, like you can look at the story from like all of them guys that was around King Von have the interviews up now, and they tell the stories of what was going on as much as they can say, and you can hear that this is like and from both sides, the GDBD, you can listen to them, and them people lost so many homies. Like these niggas is talking 12, 15 homeboys. Mm-hmm. From like being the age like 10 to like this shit. That shit's real.
15.
Okay, so no, them boys ain't that. Them boys is like our age.
Yeah,
In like 2010, 2011.
I understand what you said, but you said when it started. So you think it's over?
I think it's got. We talked about we just talked about they had a truce in Chicago and they had.
Oh yeah, but then they've done that before though. They had a truce and then they let the truce win. They went away with that shit and niggas start getting killed again. Like what I'm saying is that like the idea that I'm not saying that this is the average. This is not the average black experience in America. No, I'm not saying that. But to minimize it and say like, oh, these people, that shit don't really happen. Like no, niggas is out here. That shit is real, bro. That gang shit in Cali, like the shit that Big Q and them does. Them niggas, bro, this shit exists.
But y'all making different points though. I think Johnny's literally talking about that the specific thing.
Within the thing, they robbing niggas. They doggone stealing. They doing a lot of stuff, bro. Like these cats is.
Yeah, but he said we respect the killing. And then make it seem like it's a whole bunch of people out here that's killing.
Oh,
but back in the day, it was a bunch of people getting girls and getting money, and that we respected. He's like, we only respect the killers and the people that I don't think it's like that.
Looking to catch a body too. Looking to catch a body is a problem too. That's the thing. Even if they looking to catch a body,
like I've watched his interviews with people, and I've looked at some of them interviews and been like, man, some of this is probably bullshit. Like when I've seen his other interviews with people. And that's where I tell them just based on me having seen.
Okay, so the other thing you can look at if you want to look at evidence is you can go and just look at the prison records of a lot of like, bro, you can look and see when people been getting locked up. Like we wasn't saying that's the majority. What I'm saying is this thing does go on.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, but then I will say this too, and this is something that I was going to talk about. The crazy things, like a lot of people talk about, like F the police and a lot of like I got cousin that he hates the police. But the thing is, like, and this is even with my story. When you get caught, that ain't the first time that you do the shit. You get away. You know what I mean? You get away and get away.
I think most people get caught.
Absolutely. Oh, are you talking about kill specifically? I'm talking about just in general. Just in general, you breaking the law. Generally, you've been breaking the law for a minute before, and that's something I'm gonna talk with my uncle about too. Like this victim thing, like, bro. I think there was a period of time where you could go into the prisons and there was crazy amount of innocent people in there. They got the interviews of the corrupt police officers talking about planting drugs on motherfuckers and shit. So like that was obviously a thing. Yeah, but bro, niggas be guilty than a motherfucker, and you just got caught this time. You just got caught this time. You've been doing this shit, and that's what, like, with me, that's why, like, favorite, like, bro. Yeah. Getting caught, you mean doing what I got caught for? Like, I've been getting away with this shit for a long time.
I know, like I used to talk about, like, how if you watch his domino effect, he talked about how he was about ready to get out the game.
Yeah.
He got away with it the whole time, but he got caught on one last play. Ended up getting busted, had to go sit down.
Yeah, he told that story. I wouldn't say in person. He told that story.
So, like, he was the best comedian.
I tried to watch that the something about his son, that recent one.
Yeah, you got to go see him live.
Right.
He was at Comedy Zone. I went to go see him. It was pretty good.
I had to go. I think I was in like a more serious mood, so it didn't really like roll over.
He's a storyteller too. So you have to be ready to listen.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't Kevin Hart.
Yeah, it's not just jokes the whole time. It'd be like if you're getting a good story, you might cry in the story, and then by the end, you be falling out the chair laughing.
Bro had me like literally tears coming out my eyes, and then crying before I could even like wipe my eyes, like or laughing
because he catch you off guard.
Before I could even finish crying, he's like that good with storytelling.
All right, I think I'm done.
Yeah, you're about to tell you ain't getting no more fucking memes, bro.
I ain't got no more anyway. I went through all mine.
Like, go. That's senior.
Oh yeah. I get y'all mixed up sometimes. You be looking like this.
Yeah, shut the fuck up and click the button.
Wait, this one you
want? You start.
Hey, I was in jail. I was in That judge told me, son. From what the district attorney told me, you were withholding information. Don't you know I can give you 30 years right now today? You better think about this. I can give you 30 years right now. But you can also go home in the next hour if you tell us what we need to know. What you think I did? I'm a real man. I'm from the streets. Man, I told every goddamn thing I knew. Come on. What else y'all want to know? I wanted to told on my first two cousins. Served them to them. on a platter. You damn right I gave Roger up. Come on. You been going to jail, in and out your life, your whole damn life, any damn way. You see, what this time gonna hurt? You been going? Go again. Whole family turn their back on me. Y'all can y'all believe that? My whole goddamn mama turn their back on me, calling me a snitch. I'm a good one. And I'm free. I can go to Popeye right now when I get through recording. My damn fam can't. I can go in there, lay down with my baby mama right now. My damn fam can't. I got kids. Even though I don't take care of them, but goddamn it, they can see me. I can tell them from right from wrong. I can't do that behind prison bars. I was in jail.
I thought that shit was hilarious, bro, when I first seen it.
You know me, I don't care about this. I'm not in the streets. You know, I ain't no gangster.
So you saying you a snitch?
Non-snitching don't apply to me.
Okay, so you tattletale.
But what I don't agree with is doing stupid shit and then telling on somebody else with the color your ass.
Oh yeah,
I
facts.
don't agree with that. I don't do that type of activity. So I can talk to the police because I ain't a gangster. Like I ain't signed up for the rules. Y'all came up with it. I ain't signed up for it.
No, I agree.
I'm Rock Hill, and you know I got a 2-car garage. And
Oh, now you got the above average lifestyle again. They should have selected this nigga Johnny boy. He go back and forth on being privileged, boy. Not all the time, right? Yeah, I guess I feel it. I feel it.
Paper ain't fair.
Let me see. What's this? Oh yeah, so you can play that. You can play that.
Round of applause, baby, make that ass clap.
So the people in the back can see. Let me start that over. Good. You ain't even lying.
Round of applause, baby, make that ass clap. Drop it to the floor, make that ass clap. Let me see you bust it, bust it, bust it, bust it, bust it, bust it, baby. Drop it to the floor and round.
Oh, well, she should have got fired. She didn't
Exactly. Ain't secure the goddamn thing.
Hey, did she do? Hey, shout out to her. She got some cakes, but she
What
ain't securing shit.
Ain't securing shit. Bro, I go to the mall all the time, bro. Me and OleHead, when we get an early day, we'll fuck around and just go to the mall and walk around. And they be having them in there. And every time you look, this motherfucker ain't doing nothing but sitting talking on the phone, doing videos and shit. That's all they doing. We sat there, I'd be like, how much shit you think she's secure right now?
That's cute. Houses, they can't take nothing.
Exactly. I ain't gonna say I hate them, but it just be like these DEI hired jobs, bro. Like you. But that's DEI. Hold on, because the thing. Oh, I ain't saying it's not legally. Yeah, I'm not. What I'm saying is that that was more jokingly than serious. But yeah, be seeing them in there, all of the lashes and all that shit on with all of the. You know what I mean? What is if something break out right now? Your ass finna go and get up under some shit quick. That's all you finna do quick is get up under some shit. That shit's like crazy. Like, motherfucker don't be paying attention to nothing.
Bear mace or something.
They don't even be paying attention. You ain't gonna see it. You on your phone the whole time.
Yeah.
But anyway, go back to my memes. Let me see if I got anything else before we. Oh yeah. I mean, it ain't what you think it is. Oh yeah, go to Tim Tebow. Yeah, go to Tim Tebow.
The number one offender type is biological fathers, but by far it is being done by middle-aged Caucasian men. Many, over half of them, college graduates. Many of them are educated, good jobs. This isn't just who we're thinking about. Like they're technical savvy, and I think that it is time that we call them out. Like that, we can't stand by and stand back. Like we have to stand up and say, not only are we not doing our job as men, it's actually the opposite. Instead of being defenders and protectors of our families, we're hurting and abusing. The number one.
Yeah, so
you didn't expect that?
No, it's not AI. Do you know where that came? So there was a video that came out where he was this guy was showing him how many people had downloaded child porn.
Yeah. I see.
Within it was like within like the past week or so or something like that. With like at the time, it was like a week that had he was showing just within that week how many people had downloaded child porn.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, you could just look at like I saw one comment in there. I watched watching Catch a Predator told us that most of the people who do this shit look a certain way.
But see, this is the thing that of course we always have this thing when we talk about how grand, for whatever reason, anytime we talk about like this grand lifestyle, we always associate like white people to this thing that they're doing so much better than us financially, and their upbringing is just so much better, and all this shit. And that's why I always say that the population of white people that are poor is very, very large, and they're the number one recipient of government assistance and all these things. So we have to also keep in our mind, because we always talk about damn, my bad. We always talk about like crime being the correlation between crime and poverty, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always, that's the thing. Anytime somebody talk about crime, everybody on this show, everybody starts to point towards poverty, right? The thing is that we're literally seeing that just because you're making a certain amount of money don't mean that you're just a bit much more moral person.
Yeah.
And just those two things, just just because there's correlation doesn't mean that it's cause. Causation and correlation are two different things, right? So
I think when people are talking about poverty and crime, there are like crimes of opportunity.
There are specific ones that, yes.
It's specific crimes.
Absolutely.
It's certain crimes that happen in poor, and then when you go into the rich, it's not like the rich neighborhoods don't
crime dissipates. It's not that.
For one, they don't get caught.
They're not being policed at the same.
They're not being policed.
Right.
They have better lawyers saying when they do get caught,
right?
They're beating it. And there's certain crimes that happen within certain social economic groups, like abuse and like that stuff is way higher and more prevalent. Like I think the Diddy's, the Jeff,
Epstein's,
and all the stuff that happened, and how there's certain crimes that happen in more affluent places, and there's certain crimes that happen in their poverty crimes and their rich crimes.
How nobody else got arrested for that Jeffrey Epstein thing still, I don't even understand.
Yeah, they still just got Jelaine and
she, but nobody else got arrested from that. We know plenty of we know these celebrities wasn't all innocent. It might have been some of them who went to the island and ain't do nothing, but nah, y'all was going to the island.
Yeah.
Like there should be somebody else, some other arrest, but we see that's not as big of a deal. And I think that's a big part of what Tim Tebow has been on. He didn't know that the reality of the situation, that there's so many children being violated within the country and everything. Like,
well,
but he was also.
They say I think like the statistics are like I think it's like 1 in 3, 1 in 4. Like a lot of people have been subject to like abuse. And a lot of time, I have to go back and look at. I don't quote
1 in 3 is crazy.
But I've seen like the number. It's a lot more abuse that goes on in this country versus the number of people who are getting arrested for it.
Yeah,
like you listen to like the report and be like, was abused, and people are going back years later and talking about abuse versus how many people are actually in jail versus in black neighborhoods. A lot of this stuff. Maybe not anymore, but
and so that's why
there's been times where there's been black people, black and brown, colored people who've been in jail for crimes they didn't do, and there's these people that are free and not arrested for some of the crimes that they did. And so I think it's just it's a great win. It's great to talk about because it is what's it called, a disparity, or there's a gap in there.
Yeah, I'll just leave it there.
All right. Shoot, where we going?
We got 16 more minutes. We want to do
some
memes?
Oh, well, I can stop there. Yeah, good. Want to try to have a quick conversation about the which topic y'all want to try to do real quick?
Let's go to yours. Mine ain't nothing.
Mine might be a little longer. Yours might be a little shorter. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we can do mine. Let me read it exactly how I wrote it, because dang. Basically I was asking I had to remember. It was where are you paying your attention, and are you getting a good return on your investment? And this thought process basically came because it was like I I really started thinking about how much attention is really a currency, and you do purchase
especially
something.
now.
You do use your attention to make a purchase. So it's like with everything. So it's like I started looking at every little thing that I pay attention to, like the stuff that I really choose to give my attention now I'm paying is like, am I getting a good return on that investment? Like in paying attention to this, like down TV shows, what I eat on a daily basis, what I'm paying attention to throughout the day. Like literally, I started looking at those things, and I can see like how like it's kind of an accountability thing. And I've thought like this for years as far as stuff being my fault. But when I start like taking accountability for stuff being my fault, but what I like break it down a little deeper when I started thinking about where is it I'm actually paying, like this attention is currency, like time is currency. Where am I spending this at? And looking at that, it's a lot of areas I need to, work in. Like is what I started seeing. But I was just thinking about something, like as far as y'all go, like just the thought process, like where are you spending your time? Are you getting a good return on the investment of where you're paying your attention? You can name good things, bad things, just love to hear the experience.
Well, I guess since Johnny don't look like he was about to say anything, I'll go. I'd say so. As a truck driver, I do spend a lot of time listening to podcasts. Generally, it's interview-based podcasts, and I guess I may have tried to understand. Maybe I've gone too long looking at this specific sector of podcasting. Because it's literally just hearing. So initially, what I was trying to do was to more in my mind humanize this quote unquote criminal. You know what I mean? They'll just use criminal, and it almost like dehumanizes the individual, and then you kind of look at them as this bad person, this bad thing. So what I was doing was listening to people that I didn't necessarily gravitate towards, whatever they're presenting, like entertaining, whatever their content base is. Let's say they do music, you know what I mean? You talk about a whole bunch of killing and drugs and shit like that. I don't really care, you know what I mean, for that. So maybe let me give you a chance on an interview to see if like what you're actually thinking, because oftentimes I find that those two things are different. Like you as an individual definitely are more multifaceted than you allow it to reflect in your music.
Yeah.
And so, but I think I might have started like listening to like the stories of the Chicago, O Block, and like the GDs and BDs, and like, because what I found is that these guys are not just dumb kids just doing dumb shit. Like they're just as rounded as I am. You know what I mean? So I start to see myself in their stories and actually kind of relate, not necessarily relating to like, all of that killing and shit, but relating to how they connect dots in their mind. So like when I was the age that they were when they was doing it, you know what I mean? Kind of just humanizing them. And maybe I've been looking at that stuff for too long, because at the end of the day, at this point, the return on investment is just purely entertaining at this point. It's not like, you know what I mean? The box has been checked. You know what I mean? Now I could focus my mind in on something that'll be much more beneficial, which I do that as well. But specifically, I spend hours in the truck. And so I'm generally listening to some shit that really ain't bearing fruit. You know what I mean? At first it was like, okay, well, we started podcasting, so I'm listening to podcasts to see different ways to go about podcasting. And man, at this point, it's just purely entertainment, and I've just been doing it so much out of habit. It's just, you know what I mean. I just keep doing it, and then going to the same, you know what I mean, thing, and just clicking the shit again every day, just because what's new popped up and clicked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even when I was like, and what you was just saying like that, I was sitting there thinking about the fact of like, when you're looking at stuff, it's pretty much like I realize like a lot of my habits or the bad habits of stuff that I'm paying attention to, the thing that I get out in return is dopamine. Like I'm just buying dopamine, and I wasn't paying attention to it, but it's like I'm buying dopamine with my attention, and that's literally just buying a drug. Like when you really think about it, like it's like when it gets down to it, a lot, like if everything's based off of temptation or a dopamine fix or just feeling good for a second. It'd be like, yeah, is that actually a good investment, because it doesn't go anywhere usually after.
But I mean, you could also feel.
I think it's a time and place for everything. I mean, I think like you can't always be on 100% productivity.
I would agree with that.
You gotta we're not robots, we're not AI.
Right.
Like there are rest and relaxation periods that you have to have. And I think you have to be mindful. I think, like you say, sometimes you can get like in a rut, or you can get like too comfortable with it. But I think, like, I mean, not every moment of your existence has to be 100%.
Oh, no, I would agree with that.
Productivity.
Yeah.
So you can't feel bad about like taking a little break. Now I think you should like be mindful of the things that you watch. I think you should always like take audit of like what, like, psychologically, how is this like affecting me when I take it in. I think like because like even like or why am I seeing this? That's one thing with the algorithms. I think you have to like question, why is this popping up on my feed? Why is this coming up? I think doing that would help a lot more as far as like, you know, like okay, I'm seeing like, because like, you know, over the algorithm, you'll have waves. So like, I remember I used to look at cooking videos. Next thing I know, all different kind of cooking videos come up. That's helpful, because sometimes when I'm trying to, you know, at home eating or want to eat, I'm like, oh shit, you can like be inspired. You can try different stuff when you're cooking. So like, there's like, you can always find benefit.
Hey Johnny, was all the cooking videos spaghetti?
I was thinking the same. Hey, I was gonna get my spaghetti with them too, but I was just like, I'm gonna let him. He having a moment right now.
I did make spaghetti yesterday, but
I believe it.
I didn't think about it. It was bust, steak and lobster.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so like, I can cook more now. Spaghetti is just my personal favorite.
I ain't gonna lie, I did get my positive feedback off of like what he's saying of like working out. That's what happened with me. Part of the reason I started working out was because I was looking at workout videos, and then all of a sudden, all these workout my whole algorithm is just workout videos constantly. So then when I'm sitting at the house, if I'm just looking or scrolling through, it'd be like, yeah, get your tail up. You just being lazy and you watching these people work out. Like, and you just sitting there being lazy. So it does come out positive like that. I get what you're saying.
You think of like you can craft your algorithm. Like, I don't think people understand how much power you have in what you see on your social. It's not just random. Like you can look at, like, you can go. Sometimes I'll go and look at something positive. You know, I forgot who it used to be. MD motivator, but he used to just go and like give people a hug or do like just kind stuff to people. I go and watch it, but next thing you know, you get 2 or 3 other people like doing that. And so you can like, we act like the algorithm is smarter than us.
It's all about being intentional.
But you have to be intentional. But you can control your algorithm. If people act like the algorithm is some monster or something, trying to fuck us up. I'm not gonna work that motherfucker and make it to your benefit. And I think that's what more like, I don't think enough people look at it.
It's so funny. It's so funny. It's like you're the reason when you go to your explore page, there's nothing but ass.
Yeah.
Like, that's not coincidence. It's like,
man, ain't no
that's all you just want to show ass. That's what you looking at, bro.
Yeah, I don't get a whole bunch of crap on mine. I will say that. Like,
hey, but it does assume when you first start, because you know I was late. I'm always late to like it defaults. If you select that you're a man, it defaults to ass for sure.
I don't think it ever goes away at all, because it's gonna be somebody
go
who
away.
It's gonna be, and once you look at 1 or 2, it's like, okay, yeah, we gonna keep showing you these.
Well, I mean, I like ass.
Y'all see the pause videos? Like, they got the pause videos where the girl be doing something dressed and then she flash naked real quick, and you got they done got egregious, bro.
I ain't seen those in a little minute. They used to go, they used to be like all over the place. Like, I can see this shit.
I ain't seen
doing them jinx.
Let me see. And your second question was, what is your
are you getting a good return on your investment?
I think that's totally up to the person. Like I said, there's something, and it's not all.
Oh no, this is an in general conversation. Not even talking about like. I'm talking about like your personal self. Like,
times where I do get stuff from social media, but there's times where shit, I just be on some random rant or just a rabbit hole, and there ain't nothing really productive out of it. It's just entertainment. There are times that I think it's a little bit of both. And there's times I get less intentional about it. I just start
so part of the reason I asked this question is because I do realize, like, I don't think anything is wrong with like having fun and stuff like that. But if you look at a lot of your habits, and a lot of them is like purchasing dopamine pretty much, then that's where I start finding okay, I have a lot, like too much stuff that I'm doing in order to get a dopamine fix. You know what I'm saying? And it can be something simple, like I'm avoiding my work and watching this TV show like just like even just that, it's just for a dopamine fix. It's not benefiting me.
Yeah, I mean, if you come down to if it comes down and you've thought through the thing and you've identified that this is not benefiting me and it's not healthy, then by all means change it. And I'd say number one is to make sure that you're being intentional about that reflection and being honest with yourself about that reflection. But then it's also, you know what I mean? Like I agree with Jonny. So like both of y'all are saying really good things. There is a time for a break, but there also, you need to know how long this break needs to be. You know what I mean? And that's what I was saying, what I'm doing. Like at this point, nigga, I've been watching these videos every day for like a fucking, maybe even a year. Just listening to these videos about these niggas, ain't nothing productive.
And it's like you already done got the return on investment.
Yeah.
Like the stock done went and now it's dropping.
Yeah.
You were supposed to buy it at the top. Or you're supposed to let it go at the top of the thing.
But you just keep doing the same shit because I'm definitely a creature of habit, bro. Like that's one of my main things. I believe consistency is very important to me. I believe that, especially as people in general, but as a man, I believe consistency is very, very important. So, but one thing you can do is fuck around and, like you say, get consistent on something that is not healthy. You know what I mean? I'm a creature of habit. So, like, when I open my phone and go to YouTube, the suggestion that works perfectly for me because I'm just wanting to click the shit. I don't want to look long. You know what I mean? I'm just looking for this thing real quick and just to put this phone down. So, because I'm just driving all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, this conversation was healthy.
I mean, if you're just not on it, like that sounds like it's not that bad. You just clicking on it and just listening.
No, he's saying he already got. You pretty much saying you got your algorithm where you want it and the stuff you want.
They ain't even gonna say where I want it. It's just out of habit. It's just where it is, and I've not attempted to make it anything else. But I also don't sign in all of my devices. So if I log in at home, it's not the same shit. Well, I don't log in at home. I do it as guest at home. So that algorithm is different than the one that's on my phone.
That makes sense.
But I think that that's the growth because if you're in the car at work making money, like you try to be even more productive.
No, but the thing is that you can at this point, like I'm just literally just spending hours just listening to entertainment. Yeah, but I should also, what I'm saying, there's a mixture that needs to happen that I'm not being intentional about mixing it at all.
Even while he listens to them podcasts, he can be listening to something that benefits him in a way to actually do like something.
Yeah. Because I've already gotten the understand, like the style. It's just all interview style, and Vlad has a very dope, you know what I mean? He does a lot of research. So the way he goes about it, initially, that was the thing that I found interesting was the way that he strategically goes into an interview and prepares for interviews. And that was what was interesting. And then it just became the story. This is a good story. And then it became like, you just doing this shit. You just hurry up and clicking the shit and you just listening to whatever comes up just because you're not being intentional about it is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think we had a good point. Any takes, Q?
To restate the original question. I think it was a two-parter. Is it where you like it
was dang, how did I say it? I forgot that quick again.
In essence, it seemed like the sentiment was like,
where are you paying your attention and are you getting a good return on your investment?
Yeah. Where am I spending my attention? I don't know. I imagine pretty much it sounds like everybody kind of almost defaults to a lot of our free time ends up being distracted by our handheld device or, like in essence, our phone, because we all speaking about algorithm, in which I agree. Do I think that it's kind of worth it? I don't know. It's a tough question. I think that there's always more room for intentionality, and because there's more room for intentionality, I can't say that I'm like super productive. I also don't really look at a lot of like the most craziest shit. A lot of the shit that I watch is like almost like politic based, right versus left, or something dealing with like some AI or tech or some shit like that. But there's also like other fruitful things that I could be engaging with, especially during the distraction moment. So like I said, it's kind of hard to say that it's beneficial, but I do agree with Jonny where we all need reprieve. We all need to have time where you can kind of like mentally unload and not have the burden of needing to accomplish a thing all the time. And yeah, so with that, I don't know. I think that I'm almost stuck in the middle. If I had to say if it's productive or not, no.
Not even productive, but are you personally getting? Do you feel like you're getting a good return? Like, because that's going to be different for everybody. Like, pretty much, like, are you enjoying the life that you're creating for yourself?
I don't know. Like it's a like that. That's like such a deeper question than like the framing of that. Because I mean, I think that we can get into an idea of like saying, are we content and like being happy with being content, or do you believe that there's still more that you can do? And at the moment, you're just happy being content and distracted. And sometimes
more we can do, but I think like it's good to look at what you're doing so far and see like, am I making good decisions? Am I paying attention to good like am I feeding myself well? I mean, I think we'll all end up discovering that as areas where it's like, yeah, I'm getting a good return in this area, but in this area, not so much. Like, I think it's a probably a good thing to examine like on a regular basis. Because I mean, it can change at different points. Even like Rell was saying, like he was paying attention to them videos. They might have been actually benefiting him at a certain point to learn something out of it. But at a certain point, it came to a time where now I'm just watching this for entertainment. It's not really benefiting me any type of way, and I'm tired of hearing these stories. Like,
yeah, but but to go to what you're saying, that's where, in my opinion, more times than not, we're not really feeding ourselves anything of like of fruitfulness. Sometimes we'll randomly get on like a kick, but to me, a lot of it ends up just being a distraction, and it typically eventually evolves into a distraction anyway. Even if like there's a mode where we can justify it. Yeah, like I said, I think that like it's tough just saying like I forget the framing of how you're saying it, but to me, I think that yeah, if I wasn't as distracted by my phone in the algorithm, I could be and have done I could be way more productive and have done way more things. Even though that's not to say that I haven't done decent for myself already. I guess like they're not like mutually exclusive.
Okay, so basically, we all trying to get better returns on our investments.
Yeah, I know I am. Yeah,
yeah, that's the thing. Though. I think you should always be trying to improve and everything.
Yeah, and Chuck, he said it. I'm sorry, my bad. I was gonna say Chuck said the audio books, and I'm glad he said it because that's something that I've been meaning to do. And there are some specific ones that I kind of wanted to get into too. The audio book, and I had this shit. But yeah, I'm glad. I just forgot. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just.
It's something. I don't know. It's just something about like. I don't know. It's just tough to like get into audio books. So I've tried it.
I'm gonna try. I just haven't.
I do need to go back and do it. But I think the content on some of it is a lot better than what you get like just through strictly social media.
Yeah, and especially I'm just listening anyway. You know what I mean? I'm not even watching.
Like the Shrek, you can just go straight to this is what I want to hear. Just straight. You ain't got to go through no pictures, and that it's just very intentional. So that's a good one. Shout out to Chuck.
Well, we had a good one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we had a good one. We done wrapped it up. Y'all got any last things?
Nah.
If not, we appreciate y'all for tuning in.
For sure.
Hit the like button, comment below, follow us on all social media. That's at the 2B Fair Show. That's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. I am your host, Jonny P.
OleHead Rell.
It's Q.
Tone.
And we out.
All right.